Hey, this is Johnny Beane, and I think we're here.
That was loud.
Are we here? Was that loud?
Yeah, it was a little loud. I'm awake now.
Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Hey, it's April 25th, 2020. 11:58 p.m. Straturday night, Eastern time.
That's right.
That's right. Here we are. How you doing, man? Wait,
Life is good.
Who is that? Who is that? Hey.
What's going on,
guys? Hey, John BL 5150 and Neanderthal. Welcome.
And Ace is acting up. It's amazing. We're a minute and 53 seconds into it. He's like, he's been quiet all night. Now he's like, hey, why don't you pay attention to me? Would you please?
Typical.
He's got his bone, so he's going to be tossing it around.
Man. Yeah, I just had dinner. I just had a quick dinner. So I'm still like, ah! It was cheese, it was crackers, it was oranges.
You're out of control.
All the stuff that and some sort of like coleslaw too. And summer sausage. And yeah, it was good. It was good.
Nice.
So that's what I've been doing. How about you? John Bell, what'd you have?
I had a ham sandwich. Same kind of idea, just whatever's in the fridge, at this point. You can't be doing takeout every night, and you can't be doing, so it's, got cold cuts at the beginning of the week, so I've been eating the sandwiches most of the week.
Yeah, it's kind of the deal I did. I went and grabbed earlier this week. I grabbed some hamburger buns, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be 100 degrees by this weekend.
Man.
Any little bit of humidity inside those hamburger rolls, and they'll be green by Sunday. So eat them now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, Arizona hit triple digits today. So,
man.
Yeah. Welcome to it. April 25th.
Yeah. There's still snow up on the ski slope down the street. So
there's snow in Flagstaff. There's snow on the tips of the mountains in Flagstaff right now, and it's 100 degrees down here in the valley.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had snow in like the neighborhoods in probably a month. It seems like, I don't know, 2 weeks anyway.
Those dishes
we didn't get much this week anyway. I mean, this year.
Here are the Johnny Beane kitchen.
Oh, you can hear that?
Oh yeah. the Johnny Beane kitchen. Sorry, John. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was cutting you off too. So.
Oh, well, this is the night.
Typical. This is the
cuts
Saturday
everybody
night.
off.
Yeah.
Speaking of cutting people off, you guys, we have channel members here now. So if you would like to get some extra perks, extra videos, if you'd like to see some videos early, special emojis, special shout outs, all kinds of fun stuff, kind of like this. You can be an executive producer like Charles Green, Music Therapy Laz, Robbie Johnston, Mike Neese. Mike Neese, thank you again so much, man. I got the email last night from you. Thank you. And the Captain Michael Smith, who I think will be here shortly.
I love the fact that the executive producer, is now just honing in on the show every week. Just, my God, you think it because you produce the thing. All of a sudden, he's crossed what a guy that I used to work with calls the talent moat. He says there's a moat around the studio, and when somebody in sales crosses the talent moat.
Well, Johnny called me the producer for a long time, so I'm glad to give the responsibility over to someone else.
Yeah, well, you're still producing. They're executive producers.
That's right. Yeah,
you're still
executive. What the hell does that mean? They have to wear a shirt? What is that? What does that mean?
I don't know.
What does executive producing really mean?
Executive producer is the one that stops by the set once during the production. They stop by once in a while. A producer is like on set all the time. I think. I don't know. I think in movies that's the way it works.
No, the producer writes the check.
Well, that's it. Well, the executive. Isn't it the executive producers that write the check?
They write the bigger checks.
Right.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But we all know that the production values on this show are suspect to begin with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with these things.
Yes, exactly. We've spared every expense.
Yeah.
Man, well, what else? Did you guys watch the show last night?
I did
Yeah,
not.
excellent show
You
with
guys here last night? I
um,
still have the card here. We'll show the card. Yeah,
Greg.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was cool.
It was.
Good to listen to his stories.
Oh, they were amazing. They were amazing. Super, super cool dude. He's definitely going to be back.
He didn't talk enough about his guitars, though. I don't think. I mean, he showed a couple, right?
No, he didn't show
Did
any.
he show any? No, he
didn't show any. No.
That's kind of what I was kind of thinking about after the show. It's like, yeah, it was a lot of cool stories and everything. I wanted to see some guitars. Next time.
Next time.
Anybody
Yes.
that's from New Orleans is usually a like laid back, cool, like you know, they're just nonplussed by anything and just cool to hang out.
Yeah, they got that laid back southern
Yeah.
style.
It's not, but it's different than the South. Like New Orleans is its thing. It's unto itself. It's got its own sort of European vibe because there's a lot of French and a lot of Spanish influence there. So it's not, you know,
Cajun.
yeah, it's its own little thing.
I've never been there. I've yet to be there.
Supposedly, I have ancestors that are French Canadian that went all the way, sought refuge down in
Well,
that area, New Orleans.
It's a port city, so there's a lot of culture there.
Yeah.
Great city, great food, great people. Everything right about the South is in New Orleans.
Yeah, I'd like to get down to to Mardi Gras and check that out sometime. It'd be a once in a lifetime thing.
It's pretty, it's pretty nuts. They put a couple million people in an area that shouldn't take a couple million people. It's kind of like driving in Boston.
Yeah,
it gets real jammed up.
Competitive.
But one of the great things about New Orleans, though, is music is so integrated into everything that goes on down there. I mean, it's just constantly, it's everywhere. Like you walk into stores, it's on in the background. It's so ingrained in everything. I mean, even when somebody dies, they throw a party. I mean, it's like, it's an amazing little area.
I've heard about that.
Oh yeah, second line is insane. People dancing around with parasols and shit.
Yeah. There's which one was it? There's a James Bond movie where you see that.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Maybe there's a few of them.
Well, Easy Rider, they do.
Yeah, everything down in New Orleans is musical and there's an energy and a vibe to it that you just don't see anywhere else in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of that, I guess, in Austin, but not the same because obviously Austin is blues based and New Orleans is jazz and Zydecajan and all this kind of stuff that's going on.
It's very unique music down there.
Yeah, well, that's where jazz was invented. So,
mm-hmm.
And it's in everything down there, so it's great. It's fantastic.
I saw on Netflix. I got to check up on Ken Burns Jazz. I watched that maybe 2 years ago, and that's another one to kill 10 hours with.
Sure.
Ken Burns series.
Yeah, Ken Burns movies are like Quentin Tarantino's movies. They go on way long,
but in depth, and it's cool. They really are
kind of like this.
Yeah, talking about nothing the whole time for 10 hours.
10 hours. I don't have that kind of time tonight.
I don't think they even give us 10 hours.
I got some, Johnny saw this on Facebook. I got some shit news earlier today. A buddy of mine died. Wasn't from coronavirus, at least as far as we know. He was an actor guy. We were just talking about this guy on Tuesday night with John Mancuda. His name is Dmitry Dyachenko. And Dmitry was in the last Indiana Jones movie. He was on Sons of Anarchy. He was on Sopranos. He was always a guy that when they needed somebody that looked like a Russian goon, they called Dmitry. The movie, The Chernobyl Diaries, he was their Russian guide going through the reactor and stuff.
We'd probably recognize him.
You'd know him if you saw him.
That guy.
Yeah. He's like stereotypical Eastern Ukrainian Russian dude, 52 years old. We went to school together. He went to the high school that my girlfriend in high school went to. One of my girlfriends in high school went to. Super talented classical guitar player, nationally ranked in Taekwondo. I mean, like a sort of a man's man type guy, and went out to Hollywood and was an actor and did all right for himself. But they found him, I guess, yesterday or today, face down in his living room. It's just sort of a shit deal for a guy. So it sucks. That was sort of weird news. So I've had a lot of people calling me today going, "Hey man, you all right?" I'm like, yeah, because he and I used to write country music together. He was a fantastic fantastic picker, really great guitar player, but he couldn't write lyrics to save his life. So he'd be like,
Enter
hey,
Paul.
he goes, hey man, do you know what you can do to this? I'm like, oh yeah, I know what we can do with that. So, but that was shit news today. So condolences to friends and family, anybody that might have known him. He was a character actor, but some people knew who he was. And he was notable enough that CNN announced his death. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. I saw your post though. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah. So on that down note, good night, everybody.
What else is going on? Yeah, it was a good week on Johnny's shows. I watched you, Paul, and you guys on Tuesday was cool with Mancuda. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was fun. You just
Johnny
let John go.
Johnny was on Dave's show Thursday, which was very cool. Talking with Liquid Charlie, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Charlie's awesome. Yeah. Charlie's awesome, and like I said last night, I hung out with Ty, for like an hour after they were done. We were just sitting. You know how when we end the stream, then we just sit here for a while. Yeah,
it's Johnny Beane After Dark.
Yeah, we were hanging out for like an hour, just like talking, and because we had never really met, So
where's Ty live? Is he near Dave? Or is he?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't.
But he's been good friends with Dave for a long time, right?
I don't think so either.
No. Well, he's the co-host. I mean, isn't he kind of the co-host?
Well, I don't know what that means.
I don't know. All right, forget it. Kind of like you're, Dave and Johnny, like Ty and Dave.
Yeah. Well, it's not the same. No,
I guess not.
Let's see. Gus Buster. I'm seeing some things here. What pickups?
Oh yeah, might as well do a roll call, I guess.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. Okay.
Talk about guitars? Do some.
What pickups are in there? Well, that's only one pickup. It's the EVH Wolfgang pickup. I'm pointing my mouse at it like you can see my mouse, but you can't. It's right there.
Let me point my mouse to it.
Yeah,
there it is.
John will point his mouse. Yeah, it's the Wolfgang, the EVH. It either came out of the Circles or the Star, because that's the only way you could get the off-white Wolfgang. So great pickup, awesome pickup.
And which 5150 is that? Is that who made that? Was that
it's a custom? It's a
custom
guitar. Yeah, I'm pointing at it. Yeah, it actually says 1984 on it right there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was custom made for Nesdal, and then Nesdal
it's the 84. Yeah.
Nesdal was going to throw it in the trash, and he's like, "Hey, Johnny, do you want this?" And he sent it to me in parts, and then I built it and put it together.
Nesdal was going to throw it in the trash. What?
Yeah, because it's incorrect. It's not correct.
Jeez.
The back of it doesn't look anything like the actual guitar, and so apparently it's useless.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
All right. Same here, man. You saw the piece of shit I bought last week.
Oh,
still trying to do something with that.
Are you really?
We're not going to talk about it. If you're gonna ask me nicely, what are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it?
Oh, how's the
I'm going to
progression?
put a neck on it and play it.
How's the progression of that? Anything this week?
I ordered a neck, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, what kind of neck did you order?
A guitar neck, maple neck.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of a no-name brand, no-name neck, cheap neck, but we'll see what I get. We'll see if it fits.
Well,
not on the show this time. I'll do that on my own.
You got to be careful with those no-name cheap necks, man. You get it, and the frets are all sprouted out.
Oh my God.
Things bent.
I know what I'm getting into. Like I said last week 50 times. I know what I'm doing. You know,
there's no truss rod.
I'm trying to build
in there. You got to be careful. I'm just saying. You have to be careful. How much was it?
I know what I bought.
How much was it?
$45.
Oh yeah.
Dude, just don't. You know what? I know what I'm doing. If it works, if it doesn't work, whatever. You know, man. That's why I'm not. I'm just having fun trying to build a couple guitars, man. That's all. I don't know.
Not a word
talking about.
Not a word did I say. Not a fucking word.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a truss rod. That's you got to. Yeah, if it doesn't have a truss rod, you're no.
It's got a truss rod. Trust me.
Be careful.
There was several pictures.
Okay, we're getting messages. Okay, like I've said, there's only 6 slots, and I said slots in here. So whoever shows up, shows up. So I just got a message from somebody that wants in. So I'm gonna let them in here.
I know. Jay wants in.
Okay. So Jay, you should jump in. Let me grab. Yeah. No, the voting. That's to vote people off, not on.
Ben Tom, I wasn't pointing at anything on my shelf. I was pointing to Johnny Beane being the antagonizer this week. just being, playing the dick card.
Oh no! I was just telling the truth. A $45 neck.
Listen, like I said,
to me that sounds.
I'm taking a chance. I know.
Sounds a little weird.
Jesus.
But I mean, I will.
It's a used neck. It's not a new neck. It's a used. It's off a. I think it said it was off of Jackson or something like that.
All I'm going to say about this, John, is you paid how much for the guitar?
$50.
How much for the neck?
45.
You could have bought a decent Squire for that amount of money.
Or I could have fun trying to build a guitar and working out the problem and
you could have bought a $95 guitar.
Which still would have been a piece of shit.
But here's the thing, John. I mean, I'm not trying to project or anything, but based on the tone of your voice, it doesn't sound like you're having fun at all.
I'm not having fun when you guys are giving me shit about it.
I haven't given you any shit about it.
I know
whatsoever.
what
I wanted you to fucking finish that guitar last week
and ruin my other neck. So
no, I didn't give a shit about the other neck.
Right.
I would have bought you a new neck.
Oh man. Anyway,
we could have made it work.
No, that's not the way to do it. You don't force it and make it work like that. You do it right. And if I get this other neck and it doesn't fit, then I'll put it on a different body and I'll build. I'm just enjoying building a guitar, that's all. I mean, I built one 10 years ago and I like, it still works and I had fun building it. So, whatever.
That's cool. It's all about enjoying it.
I know what I'm getting into paying $45 for a neck, man. I know what I'm doing paying $50 for a guitar. It's shit, but it's if I can get it to work and if I can get something good out of it, that'll play for $100, then I really don't care, So that's what it gets. That's what it comes down to.
It's all about a whole lot.
It's all about the experience, I've done that. I've done that. I've got $25 bodies and
you're taking a chance.
I mean, I like to spend a little more on the neck because you never know, but yeah, $45 neck, I don't know, but hey, but if it's used,
listen, the last neck I bought was brand new from Warmouth and that was $150. So I mean, I know what a good neck is. I know what a piece of I know I'm taking a chance. Right, so that's all that it comes down to.
Careful on the bad words. I forgot to tell you. Yeah.
Oh, we can't swear anymore.
YouTube is getting really strict now on bad words again. Yeah.
Man.
Booger.
Yeah.
But
no, that's
I understand where the prices are. I understand it's it's an eBay chance. That's all it is. So I mean, if it works, if it's a complete piece of crap, I lost $45. Oh well, maybe I got some tuners out of it.
Oh, there's tuners on it. Okay. All right, that's good. That's good. No, we just don't want to see you get hurt in any way.
Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me, really. I'll be all right. It's not going to make or break me.
Okay. Hurry up. Who's jumping in? Quick. We need somebody else to talk to. No. No, we've all done the eBay parts caster thing.
Cranky.
And
it's that cabin fever, man. It's just I don't get out enough. I don't get out enough anymore,
Well, now.
Okay. That makes sense.
When's the last time you were out? What's the last time you left the house?
Where did I go today? I went. The only place I went today. I went to Burger King. That was it. Earlier.
What'd you have?
A cheeseburger and French fries. Basic, quick.
You make it your way?
That's what they told me.
So what did you get on it, or what did you have them take off?
Just plain. No, I get it how they give it to you. I'm not one of those guys who hold the pickles and
the Burger King burgers. They're very mustard heavy.
True,
There's
but I
a
like
lot
mustard.
of mustard on that.
Yeah,
very very sharp taste.
I like that though. I like mustard. Good mustard. The yellow mustard isn't the best, but spicy mustard's good.
Mm-hmm.
I
The
don't
Grey
eat mustard.
Poupon.
That's all right. I don't like that kind.
I don't eat any mustard.
No mustard.
None. Don't like it.
What do you guys in the chat think? You guys like mustard?
That's what it's coming to.
Should I read some names here?
Yeah.
I'll read some names. Sean Zimmerman is here. Dan of New Jersey, I think it says. SD Design. Sylvester Rado 1, I think that says. I'm staring at 3 different screens here, but the StreamYard screen does not move. It's awful.
The StreamYard stream is slow.
Yeah, it does it in like chunks, like blocks. 802 Blues is watching. Kelly, hey now. David Scher, Renus Pinkle, Brendan B. Butt Cheeks. Just let everyone in, Johnny. We got three slots here. Somebody else is about to come in. Jay's about to come in. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Michael Smith. Well,
What, you said Jay and Michael Smith. That'd be 5, right?
Jay and Michael Smith, and then I just sent the thing to somebody else. Who?
Well, that's 6. So
that's 6.
I guess we're full.
Whoever jumps in. And
It's
then
funny,
I guess
everybody wants to use Zoom these days because you can have more people than you really need. And these things,
Yeah.
the problem with that is it gets everybody. If you think we talk over each other a lot, try sitting in a room with like 20 other people.
Oh,
Didn't they have all NFL coaches doing like the draft like that?
Yeah, they had. It was funny because they were going through the draft, and I don't know why I watched it. Probably because there was nothing else on. But they were taking like Zoom shots of fans, like fan bases,
Zoom shots,
and I think they could do 20 or something like that. It was like 5 across and 4 down. And when they got to the Chargers, I think they only had like 12 slots. Like they couldn't find 20 Chargers fans that could stream watching night number 1 of the draft, and they were picking in like the top 10. It was incredible to see like how pathetic still call them San Diego, the Los Angeles Charger fan base is. They couldn't give a rat's ass less about football in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Hilarious to watch.
Kind of like us, Johnny and I couldn't give a crap about football.
Yeah, Zoom shots. Yeah, actually, I was talking to Jay earlier by Messenger, and I was saying, hey, we could go.
Probably following it.
I'm like, we could go live on Zoom and have like 100 people in here, you know. Although I'd have to buy it real quick because I think well in the chat, the free version of Zoom, how many people can you have in there?
And you can only go for 40 minutes, I think.
Oh, okay. That's why we never went with Zoom in the first place. About a year or 6 months before Hangouts went away, way before we started using StreamYard here, we had tried Zoom, and that was one of the drawbacks was it was only 45 minutes unless we had to pay for it. So for the past year of this show, previous year, I kept telling everybody, I'm gonna have to start paying to use this. I'm gonna start paying, which I do now, with this and a couple other things. But Zoom was one of the things that we were going to try. But I remember something about it. I didn't. Maybe it's better now. But there was something about it I really didn't dig. But maybe we'll have to do that one of these nights. I mean, this stream here is already scheduled, and we're on Facebook and YouTube and everything. But who knows? Maybe next week or something we can try Zoom and have 100.
Just have everybody in talking over each other at once for 40 minutes.
It'll just be non. It'll just be. Oh, if I could do different buttons at once, it'd just be all that. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, John Bill, how are you doing? Oh, really? Hey, Jay, what's going on, man? Oh, hey, dude, what's new? Oh, we're on Zoom, everybody. Hey. Oh, hey, man. Here we go. We got somebody here. Hey, dude.
Dane Zimmerman, everybody.
Hey. What's up?
Hey,
Dan,
John,
you run a music store. You think you'd be able to get some fidelity on those microphones?
can you hear my voice okay?
Yeah, it's flanging a little bit, but other than that, you're good.
That's just the natural wave I have in my voice.
That's cool.
Look at the
I loved
player.
your work with ELO in the 70s.
Thank you very much. Mr. Blue Sky.
Julia, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much.
Nice.
It's Catterday. Oh, it's a fox, I think. Thank you, Julia.
I love the moonlighting in the crypt over there. That's
I know,
beautiful.
right? I'm getting all like into the blueness.
Look at that.
Look at them eyes. Green
Oh, my
eyes.
goodness.
And I
Man.
have a blue Charvel hanging on the wall accidentally somehow.
Oh.
Coincident.
Oh, and you got the blue Van Halen Rolling Stone issue as well.
There you go. God, this is the back room of my house, and I haven't been back here in like 6 months or something. Yeah, I don't use this room.
So
very
keep
much.
the
Sounds
monkey.
like you have rats. Yeah.
Oh, that's my dog playing with her little squeaky toy.
Like John Biel smells blood in the water. He's like, hell yeah, I got someone I can pick on.
And hey, you know what though?
God.
You get yourself a $45 Jackson neck. You get yourself a $50 body. You know what? I sit at my shop and I do that kind of stuff all day long. I love putting together little projects.
What else am I going to do while I'm sitting here?
Some of them don't turn out so good, but some of them turn out really good, and you're just amazed at, wow, this is awesome.
Taking a chance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great day for me, it's a great afternoon to spend and try to put something together out of nothing, just random parts. And yeah,
Mm-hmm. You do that a lot, huh?
I do, man. I get all kinds of weird guys will bring me boxes of parts and, hey man, I got all these old parts. Do you want them for anything? And I usually jump at
I
the
used to
chance.
do that when I was in high school. I would do that. I mean, the guitars that I built in shop class were, throw it together, and I never kept any of them, and they never stayed in tune. But I learned a little bit each time I made one.
Well, one thing that I do like though is the name brand parts. If that neck is from a Jackson, that's a good neck.
Did they let you cut the blanks on the bandsaw and shit like that in shop class, John?
Oh yeah, we did everything for the body. I built the bodies. I didn't build the necks. So I would have my first old Harmony Stratocaster. I destroyed that and kept the neck and put that on my first build. I have pictures of it somewhere. I think I've shown them on here. The weird design, and just have fun. And I had a whole drawer full of pickups and everything. They were all complete, like Daddy's Junkie Music, crappy, nothing, no name brand, anything. But I would put little things, put it together. So I mean, same as what Dane's talking about. Just
it's funny that you
have fun putting it together and building.
I love doing that.
I'm the only one that got the Daddy's Junkie Music reference though, because nobody else knows that's actually was the name of a store, a music store in New England. It was just called Daddy's Junkie Music, and it was fantastic.
They were the best.
Yeah, it was. I mean, these stores were so much better than the guitar centers of today or Musician's Friend or whatever, big guitar store you want to talk about. These were sort of locally run, but they were run by good guitar player like musicians. They weren't snobby about it. They would show you around and let you play whatever gear, but not let people beat the shit out of the gear, which was, so much different than what
and you knew everybody that worked there. You knew all the guys,
all the bands they were in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they were, probably how many of them were there at their height? Maybe 25, 30 of them.
Something like that. Yeah. There were a ton of them in New England. Yeah. I mean, there was one literally like across the street and down 3 blocks at Berkeley School of Music at Berkeley College.
Yeah. Boston had 2 or 3 of them anyway.
Yeah. It was great. No, Daddy's Junkie Music was the best. And we would all jump up to go up to the one in Nashville so you didn't have to pay sales tax.
I always went to Salem, Same thing. I think Salem was the original. Well, I don't know where the original one was, maybe. But it was the older one.
The one that was down on Mass Ave. Mass Ave across from the Berkeley.
That's probably the original, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the original one, yeah. But great music store, and to find a decent guitar shop now is almost impossible. I mean, what Zim's got going on in Mesa is cool because it's for guys like us. It's a used shop, primarily used shop. He rarely gets anything in that's new, or he'll get something that's new that's somebody's owned for like a year and then never played it. That kind of a deal.
I got today Rico. You guys probably know him because he's always in the chat. But Rico B, his name's Rick, but he brought in an LTD Kamikaze 4 today. Really nice, brand new condition. He's like, I've just got too many guitars, thin the herd. And so I got my hands on the Kamikaze 4 down there today. And the Japanese ESP versions of that guitar, they're like $3,000. The LTDs roll in at about $800. And it's cool getting consignment pieces because you get to get your hands on something and experiment with it and play around with it. But then at the same time, it's a little nerve-wracking because you don't want to put a scratch on it. You don't, you got to be careful not to let the kids play it. And I keep a lot of these guitars that are the high-dollar guitars in the cases, behind the counter. I don't just hang everything up. But I got one of those Kamikazes in today.
And it's interesting too, because Dane is also one of those guys that gets his clientele and won't and I'm not stroking him because he's on the chat. I mean, in the game, but he's one of those guys that will wheel and deal with you and won't push a kid or a parent of a kid toward a guitar that's out of their price range or out of their skill level range. He'll literally sacrifice a couple bucks to give the kid a guitar that's not going to stretch anybody's budget to beyond the point. It's really weird to see. I hate to do this, but integrity in a guitar store, because we all know that guitar shops tend to be populated by pirates.
I'm a little bit wondering if, with this whole lockdown and everything, officially I am closed right now. And so I'm wondering what I need to do when it comes to time to pay the rent here in 5 more days. Should I pay my rent or should I talk to my landlord and see if I can throw the next 2 or 3 months maybe on the end of my lease, or what they really want to do? Because officially I'm closed. And now the furniture store next to me, they didn't pay their rent last month. She told me I didn't pay my rent. They let me slide. So I've got all that stuff to try to figure out.
I would say, if you can pay your rent now. And then when they come back to renegotiate a lease and an extension on the lease, you can sit back and go, hey, who paid his rent during all the lockdown stuff? Don't even think about raising it.
That's what I thought. Last month, I just paid my rent right on the first of the month. But I'm asking all my buddies about that same situation. And half of them are like, dude, don't pay it, man. Throw it on the end of your lease, because my lease is up next year. And so it could kind of prolong it a couple of months, before I have to renegotiate. So I don't know what to do. I'm stuck again.
Do you have a website?
No, man. All I do is
I was gonna show whatever you have online. I was gonna show everybody. So
yeah, I've got you can go to Zim's Guitars, and I've got a small website. Yeah, I don't hardly ever do anything on there. There's some photos that my girlfriend took 3 years ago and stuff, and I have sold some stuff on Reverb.
You got Instagram
recently. Because I'm always the kind of guy that is like, oh, dude, with a used guitar shop, you can try everything before you buy it. And that's my whole motto in life. You can try it before you buy it. Screw buying stuff online. But now here in the last, month, I've sold 5 or 6 guitars online because I had to try to figure out something to do with them, right? I had a really old early 80s Ibanez DT555, which that was the Destroyer 2 that Phil Collin played in the photograph video. I had one of those. Yeah, and it was painted with flames and everything. I sold that on Reverb.
That's cool.
Now that they've started collecting tax on a lot of those websites, I've tapped out because you end up losing. You end up between their fees and the taxes, you end up losing a third of the sale.
I know it's tough, and I'm so into trying to get trade-in items. You know.
What do you need? What do you need? We'll trade some stuff in.
Hey, I saw there's a pawn shop in Scottsdale that has a Chapman. And I don't know if I'm still on my Chapman kick, but it's a Chapman ML1, which is the Strat model. And it's called the Hot Rod. So it's just a natural finish with one humbucker, one volume knob, and a Floyd. And they call it the Hot Rod. And I'm kind of like, wow. Yeah, there you go. Lawrence Petros pedals. He's in Mesa, Arizona, too. So I get a lot of he comes in my shop and he goes, what do you want? I'm like, bro, I don't care what pedal you bring me. I can sell any of your pedals. You just bring what you've got laying around. And so there's only 2 stores in the United States that carries LPD pedals, and that would be my store. And then it's also Carter's Vintage Guitars in where is it, Nashville? Yeah, so
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And then there's some of those brand new Fender pedals, and you see, okay,
yeah,
so this is exactly what John Biel's talking about. You get a Jackson neck, you put it on a weird body, scroll down a little bit. See, that's my collection of those kind of guitars right there that, you know, I've had painted. I put Jackson necks on funny bodies. I get Kramers. That's behind the counter. That's my little collection of 80 colorful goodies. You know what I'm saying?
That's my bass up there on the wall behind the orange amp. I bought that bass from you.
Ibanez? Is that Ibanez?
Oh, yeah.
Sound gear, I think 550 or 560, something like that. 570? I don't remember. But that, yeah, I bought that bass from Dane. It's a great bass. Active Bartolini's in it. Plays fantastic.
That orange amplifier is at Jerry Baker's store in Orange County, California right now. I mean, I traded that to him. I don't know if he still has it. But that orange amplifier ended up going to California.
Cool. I love the orange stuff. Awesome, man. So that's a guitar you put together right there?
Yeah, that's a $95 Jackson, and I had my buddies paint it for $100. I just threw it together the best I could, and I did pretty good on that. I mean, I think I ended up getting it went towards partial trade for a Gibson Les Paul. Some guy was sick of his Les Paul, and it was too heavy. So I know it. I figured out a trade, and he said, okay. And he even brought it back in a couple of weeks ago and had it restrung because he's really doesn't like restringing the Floyd Rose stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's your GJ2 right there too.
Yeah, my green meanie.
Uh-huh. Dang, Neanderthals bought like half my inventory over the years.
I've spent a lot of money in that store, Dane.
I know.
A lot of money.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that, man. There's the money shot right there.
That's my green meanie. I believe that is number 30. This serial number 30. I have serial numbers 29 and 30, and there are only 36 of those guitars in existence, and only 12 were released in the United States, and I have 2 of them. And I don't know why. I just went on in a 10-day period. I went on a buying spree. I actually traded Dane my Trans Amber Wolfgang for that guitar.
Wow.
You know what? Paul kept bringing in this Wolfgang, and about a year ago, he's like, "Let's do a trade, man. I have this Wolfgang," and I'm like, Paul, I can't take that guitar from you. It's worth way more than, but we finally did a trade on it.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I know what I paid for it, and I got, back what I paid for it. So it was all good, Dane took that guitar home, did not sell it, took it home and put it under his bed.
It is. It's in my closet in my bedroom right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, there's some old photos. I remember them shorts I used to wear, those Dickies. I wore them babies out.
Yeah, I loved you and Korn.
And then I went to, last summer, because here in Arizona, man, you need to wear shorts or you're just crazy walking around in blue jeans. And so I looked for another pair of Dickies. And I went to the mall and I went to that one store at the Tilly's at the mall. I'm like, man, I need those Dickies, 34 waist, real long, because I'm 6'2" and I want them to come down 2, 3, 4 inches past my knee, right? You can't have anything up higher on your thigh. And they just don't have them. So I need to get some shorts, man. I need to get some good shorts.
John BL, your thoughts?
I'm wearing shorts right now,
So am I.
and they're good shorts.
It's hot out.
And
I'm
I'm up north, so
I never wear shorts ever.
It hit 100 degrees in Arizona today. I'm in shorts. I'm gonna have to shave the legs though. The Motorhead tat looks like it's all fuzzy.
Well, that's for like when you're in the pool and the little kids run their hands up your legs and the little hairs stick out. Right?
Whoa. Wow, did it just got
really
creepy.
Impersonation.
Somewhere Mancuda was like, I hear my calling card.
Come on. I was doing Joe Biden.
Yikes! Hey, what's that guitar and amp right there? What's that?
That looks like an old,
That was an old Basement, wasn't it?
67 Fender Bandmaster.
That was the Bandmaster.
Yeah, I still have that amp. It's right up here in the back.
All the good amps he takes home with him.
Uh-huh.
That's the beauty of owning a secondhand shop. Anything good that comes in, he scamps it.
Well, that's not really true. I have a lot of if you think back on some of the really good stuff that's come in and I sold it and I maybe made it $100 or $200-300 or whatever. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I should have just kept that one because, what did the $200 or $300 get me really? The profit,
Paid your rent.
Yeah, I know. Paid my rent.
Wow. Do you still have the circles, or did you sell that?
No, that was the one I bought from him and flipped it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So Paul, so you've owned probably
that might be
most
a
of this
second
stuff.
one.
he keeps staying in business.
Let's scroll
I'm sorry.
through here.
I
What
think
did you
that
say?
was a different one.
What did you say, John? I've what?
I said you keep Dane in business.
No, I meant yeah. But Johnny Bean said something to you.
I said, oh, so you've owned like everything, every picture we see you've had at one point.
At one point or another, I've owned and I've bought guitars.
Like that Mosrite.
No, I haven't owned that. No, that one I didn't.
That's not a Mosrite. That's a Gaiatone. Remember the Japanese Gaiatone company that made really good, versions?
Really good guy tones?
Yeah.
Gaiatone,
Gaiatone.
yes.
Yeah.
Or a Gaiatone, I guess you could say.
Guillotine.
Oh, look at that nice little lamp right there, huh? Those things are horrible. The Guitar Research amp, that thing, I think that was a Sam Ash product that they sold out of Sam Ash.
And it was just awful, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It's like worse than a crate. Oh, and there's that. That was that dime. What was that guitar called? That blue Dean
ML?
dime ML. It's not
says,
an ML.
It says a Blaze.
Oh yeah, Buddy Blaze.
It says right
They
there.
just said they just resolved that lawsuit this week about who was going to get paid for it.
What happened?
It was the guy that originally painted it tried to sue Dean saying that he was never compensated for the design for co-opting the design, and the judge threw out the lawsuit because he had said that they had plenty of years for him to bring the lawsuit beforehand. So what happened was Deane acknowledged that he was the creator of the graphic, and the guy. This is my favorite thing is when somebody ever loses a lawsuit, but they get credited for creating something. He says, "Well, all I wanted to do was be acknowledged." Well, then why didn't you just ask to be acknowledged and not bring a lawsuit? I wanted to be acknowledged and with a lot of zeros. Nothing says acknowledgement like money.
What's unique about that guitar is you see that neck pickup on that thing, how far back it is.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
Oh, it looked. Yeah, I thought it was. I was looking at that. Is it 3 pickups or is
That's
it just
that Buddy Blaze
two-
design where he brought that
right together?
neck pickup really far back.
Is that an ovation behind there, or what is that? What's that yellow one?
That's the Gibson, like the
Oh,
Corvus.
Yeah, that was a local musician. It belonged to a local kid who was like an old punker. And I think it's 1983. Was it Corvus, something like that?
Is it Corvus or it went by 2 different names.
Yeah. And
that thing has burn marks on it.
Yeah, it is beat up, but he's played that thing at like CBGBs and shit. That's got road miles, real road miles on it.
Yeah.
Wow. Looks like half the top is gone.
He was Hollywood. He was Hollywood area. He played what was it? Why am I forgetting that now? Not the whiskey, but the Troubadour. He said he used to play the Troubadour in the 80s with that. And his drummer used to catch their cymbals on fire.
It's there somewhere. There it is.
Oh, yeah, it's that Corvus, the 3rd one down right there. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't make them long.
Kind of a cool look.
I think what they initially designed that for was to be their version of a 12-string, where they were going to put the tuners in the back. You see how it has the little cutout
like
in
the
back?
BC Rich, the 10-string.
Yeah. And they were going to make this BC Rich kind of 10-string or an 8-string out of it or something, and then just never ended up doing it.
So yeah, here's the ovation. That's the breadwinner. I guess that's the one that I was looking at. I think that is that the. I can't see what I'm showing.
It looks similar.
One in the middle there. Yeah, breadwinner. Kind of similar. The cutaway.
It looks like a reverse version of the same guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember a lot of those. Michael Smith says tell everybody hi, but he's getting a migraine.
Getting a haircut.
So sorry about that, Captain.
Sorry.
Hope you feel better, man.
Yeah, a lot of skinny tie bands played those Gibsons. Those were like things that you would see, the skinny tie early 80s alt rock bands that would wear the button down silk shirts and the skinny ties and shit.
Yeah.
Silk pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would not be shocked to see somebody like Elliot Easton play that guitar.
Or Tommy Two-Tone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
It's cool. It's small. I played that guitar. It doesn't, obviously you got to put your knee in that cutaway on the bottom of it. And it sits weird on your body. You got to put it on your front leg, your lead leg to get a decent.
It's too far back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a decent guitar. It plays well, but it still feels awkward. It's like, kind of like playing a flying V sitting down. It just doesn't sit right. Not naturally.
It looks like it would, but I guess I see
it doesn't.
You mean. If that cutaway isn't in the right place, it's not going to.
Yeah, and then again, it could be a body size thing. Like I'm not a small guy.
Put it on your left leg.
That's what I'm saying. You put it on your lead leg. You put it on your front leg and play it. I'm not a small guy. So it doesn't fit me right. Like the scale on it doesn't feel right on it. By the way, that blue and white Strat above it in the middle was mine as well.
Holy crap!
That one.
No. There was a Lake Placid blue. The one next to it, where there was
Oh,
right above
actually,
the
I
Gibson.
think that crop circle one. I think I might have had 2 of those.
It's possible. You might have had one and it came back. I remember you
Yeah.
had one that left and came back.
What
I know
one is
that
that?
happens.
Is that
Man. Guys buy stuff and a
TV?
year later they trade it back in. Oh,
He's
that
got
like,
some. He had a couple of those T60s in there, and I remember there were a couple of guys arguing over who was going to buy it. I was like, "Really? That guitar, huh?" All right.
I like
But
those. We
that's-
had one of those in the music department at my school, and
See that's what I love about
just
Dane's
like-
shop.
yeah,
Like that Gretsch on the wall.
those are
That's a cool-
solidly The PBs are built so very solidly. I mean, is it all maple or?
it is. It's all maple, and the neck is super narrow and super thin. It's like the neck is like it's
neck's-
not proportionate to the
They're,
body.
they're small. They're very small.
They're very small and very thin and narrow, and then the body is big and heavy, and yeah.
I was watching a guy doing a review of he bought a Hondo, and it's like that the weirdest shape, really pointy Hondo, whatever it was called, and he just went through a whole rundown on it.
Oh yeah, Trogley's did one the other night.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was. I had just discovered his channel. He's got a lot of cool reviews that he does on some odd guitars.
There's my EVH.
Yeah, it is.
Like I said, keeping him in business.
Everything
my-
here is yours.
That's my EVH. I still have it in the other room.
That thing is badass.
It's been Mully nicknamed it Skittles because of the colored knobs
I
on
was
it.
gonna say that's not factory, right?
But
No,
that-
I have
Wow.
I
That's
have
cool,
all the
though.
white knobs. I have all the white knobs in a bag that came with it. That I will tell you what that thing cost me. The head with the 4x12 in the road case with all the pedals and all that stuff and all the parts that came off it and casters and stuff on a platform on new casters for $1,200.
That's a good
Wow.
smoking deal.
Yeah.
Smoking deal.
Damn.
And
And
the
that-
way that all the different channels, you got the different, volume pots and everything for the
Yeah,
different.
everything lines up obviously with the color.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's. I mean, whoever set that
That's
up,
great.
it's cute because which if you're on the red channel, which ones you're adjusting on stage.
Oh. Hooray. Ray's
it's-
watching us on Facebook.
And it's
Oh.
really loud.
You're really loud.
That's amazing.
Just by the way, your mic is very loud.
Is it really?
I think you just have it too close. It's a little distorting. It's not like it's too loud. It's very
I'm backing it off. Hang on. Is that better?
yeah.
Better. All right.
When you're
good.
talking at full volume, it just seems it's a little screechy.
No, I backed it
To
down.
me, I
I
don't
backed it
know.
up too.
No, it sounds good.
What's
Wow.
this one?
That was an amp that was in on consignment. And after about, 6-8 months, maybe a year, I asked the guy, come and pick it up. It's not selling. But it's a little boutique amp called a Mahalo. And apparently one of the guys from, I'm not going to remember the band, but it
Mahalo?
yeah, Mahalo. It was part of the guy, Mahalo. It was
Is that the
part of
band?
guys,
Mahalo?
uh,
The guy's
is that
name was also Mahalo.
Hawaiian, is that Hawaiian like hello or something? Mahalo? I don't know. Isn't that's a greeting in some language, I think, mahalo.
That's a
Yes,
cool
it is-
little
It's Hawaiian.
that amp. That's cool how small the amp is and stuff. Why? What was the deal though?
He had a couple of those. They were different colors. One of them was like yellow. The other one was red. What was the monkey amp that you had? That was with that same set. It was the same guy. Right?
It's this guy named Dave, and he used to have a guitar shop in Idaho or someplace, Montana or something. And he's just like all of us. He collects all kinds of gear throughout his whole life. And he moved down here to Phoenix area, and he called me up one day and said, dude, I have a truckload of stuff. And I'm like, hell yeah, bring it in. And because, stock your store with good quality amps that don't cost you anything, and you can make a couple $100 if you sell it. It's awesome. I'm all in. But after a while, your same 30 or 40 guys, there you go, big money. The same 30 or 40 guys that my regulars, they see the same amp every day, every time they come in, and it's been there all year. after a while, you got to keep rotating the inventory, or they're like, oh, I've seen everything in there, and they don't go back. Yeah. So I had to call him and say, come pick it up, buddy.
Oh, so you're like, mahalo.
Yes, well done.
Aloha.
I don't know. I like it. I think it looks cool. It looks either the amp itself, the amp head is like really small, or the cabinet is like really big.
No, the amp head is small. It's like one of those little 5 watters,
Like-
you know, like the
Yeah,
the 5
I think
watt.
it's
Lunchbox kind of.
Oh, really? It's that small? Oh.
Mhm.
Oh, and so the cabinet isn't that big then.
Full size
Yeah.
cab.
No, it's not full size, but it's, 3/4 anyway.
4x12 or
Yeah.
4x10.
It's
I think it's 4x10. You
Man,
sure it's 412? I think it's 410.
it might say right here. Cool amps.
What a description, right?
We just got this really cool amps. Wait, we just got these really cool amps. Come check
That's
it out.
what I knew about it. It was cool.
The Mahalo.
Is it cool though?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's awesome.
It's what does it have for tubes in it? Or is
Man,
it not?
that thing's
is it
been gone
solid-state?
for 2 years now, probably.
Here's one of my favorite things that Dane has said to me. I go with the assumption that any amp that gets bought out of my shop needs a tube replacement.
Yeah.
He just
That's the way to look at it.
Yep. He's like, I just go with that assumption that you're going to need to retube everything that comes in and out of the shop, because you never know how long, it's been sitting there, not meaning in the shop, but sitting in the guy's garage or whatever it is.
You'll get the
Yeah.
best performance out of it with new tubes.
Yeah. So you just add a retube to whatever the price of the amp is. And don't think Dane doesn't figure that into the price, because he does. I've got some good, like I said, that EVH half stack for $1,200 with the road case and all that stuff was a steal.
How often do you use it?
Never.
I know.
Because I don't have the facility to
Right.
use it.
I know.
And
It's
I mean,
Yeah.
Can you imagine me cranking that thing up?
no, I
blow
know.
the
It's the
windows
same.
out.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. It's just cool to have. Yeah. I mean, that's cool to have.
And in a way, if you've got room to store that kind of stuff, 10, 20 years from now,
It's not going to lose any value.
it won't lose value.
No, and it's a great sounding amp, and it's fun. Like when you can push it. Every once in a while, I'll open it up and just goof around with it. But literally, this house, I'm renting this house, and the windows in this house are old. They need to be redone. So when I crank that up, and I've got a full stack too. I've got a full DSL 100 stack. If I crank either of those up or any of my amps past a certain level, I got a JCM 900 combo down here. If I put it up past 4 or 5, I can feel the windows rattling. And I don't know how brittle that glass is here in Arizona, because it's been sitting out in the sun. I don't want to sit there and hit a chord and have that thing shatter. And
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be awesome. It'd be awesome, but I don't own this
Just
house.
film it.
Yes. I don't own this house. So if I could, but I don't trust those windows not to break. Literally not to break. Like shit rattles in this house. And it's just, now if I take that thing out somewhere and to like somebody's garage or somebody else's, like an outdoor place, and crank that thing up, you can hear it for blocks. It's kick
There you
ass.
go.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And Dane's got a great selection of pedals too, like great stuff. He's got some EVH MXR stuff. I feel like I work for him. I just know that I've spent so much time in that shop. I can pretty much go down his
See,
inventory.
the BBE pedal. I have a BBE in my rack. I got that. I love the BBE. Just cool. I mean,
That
not for
photo
necessarily,
is probably 2 or 3 years old too.
yeah, not necessarily for guitars, but just cool to put into, like, when you're mixing or something. It's a cool little sonic effect. I don't know. It's not even really an effect. It's just like a filter. I like the BBE filter. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The Sonic Maximizer.
Yeah.
Every PA system used to have one of those.
Do your pedals? Do you have a good pedal turnover?
He's got pedal junkies.
It's hard for me to actually tell if I have a good turnover, but it's one thing that I think I can do better than the Guitar Center's I can have more used pedals than like all 4 or 5 locations of Guitar Center in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I do have enough room to do that. So, I try whatever I can do to have a huge selection of pedals. And again, that photo that we're looking at is probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. I figured. Do you have 2 different Instagrams or just the one? Or because I wasn't even following you. I realized when I went to this, I had to follow you.
Huh.
Which was
No, I
weird.
just have the one.
Yeah. So the further down we go, the older the picture. Oh,
yeah,
you got
stuff from
got the Jag stand
years
though, man.
ago. Oh, that was that Kurt Cobain, the Jag stain.
Yeah.
Jag stain.
Yeah. The store I worked at back in the 90s, we got one of those in at one point. We got, I think, the orange one. And I remember thinking, man, I would love to have this one. I always wanted one. I always wanted a Jag stand.
See that amp behind him? That's another one from that guy. The yellow one. It's another one from that guy, the Mahalo guy. Looks like a John Deere. Like a John Deere amp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The John Deere amp.
I thought you were talking about this one here.
Yeah. Fender.
You like that?
No. The yellow one, the ugly yellow one is another one. The guy put like 4 amps in his shop. Dane, tell me that picture right there, that guitar. Scroll up again. Is that white guitar the Fender 50s American Original Strat that I bought from you?
You never know, man. I have no way of knowing. I'm going to say it probably is.
No, that's the regular USA that I bought from you and then traded for a Gibson 120 Explorer.
How about those glasses, though?
Yeah, nice goggles.
Hey, Caleb.
Hey,
Nerd Halen.
what's up, boys?
Nerd Halen.
We're checking out Zim's guitars from like a year ago.
Yeah, I gotta check out that store when it opens back up.
Yeah.
He'll be down there tomorrow. Just walk in and tell him you're not open. He has it's a soft opening.
You got the deal with Sonic, man.
Dude, I love that deal on your EVH rig. That's sick.
Yeah,
Sick.
it was a nice deal.
With the case, man. That case is $400.
Yeah, just the road
$500.
case. I mean,
Yeah, the road case.
a nice
The road
case.
case is great. Yeah.
See, now we actually have somebody here that really honestly needs that amplifier.
Yeah. Who could actually, let it
I'm
loose.
good. I'm good with my amp right now, that's for sure. But that's a nice rig right there for sure.
Yeah. No, it was a great deal. He had it on consignment, and I said, "How much?" He goes, $1,200, and I let it go for 3 days. Like I walked out and went, I don't need that amp. I don't need that amp.
I'd love to know, Paul, how many times in those 3 days you actually were thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say every other hour.
72 hours.
Yeah, I let it go 3 days, and I remember walking in and I go, Dane, I want it. And like literally as I want it, another guy walked in. He goes, I saw it in here 2 days ago. And I was like, I don't want that amp. I go, well, you can't. I go, now you can't have it. It's mine.
Awesome.
It was like a Bronx Tale. Now you just can't leave.
Right? Yeah, the best line ever. I love that.
That was what that moment was.
I
Yeah,
love it.
that amp is way too much amplifier for me. I have no.
Oh,
I don't.
You
Yeah.
need a
Like with the-
Mahalo.
Like with
25
my
watt
guitars, Caleb, I have no business owning the guitars I own. I don't deserve them. My hands, it's like somebody
Right,
owning a Lamborghini that doesn't know how to drive a stick.
At least you can pull out your guitars and play them.
Yeah.
But to pull out that rig and go to a half of one.
Yeah, no, it's no, that thing it literally shakes the building.
Oh, it's ridiculous, that thing.
Yeah, you have
Jeez.
one. You know what it does.
I have the 50 watt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is that what is that 150 or 100?
100?
100.
100. Okay.
But
Yeah,
it's
But I mean,
monster.
it's like Marshall watts versus PV watts. You can't go by how many watts it is.
It's
for
just
the
it's
performance.
so stupid.
It's
I'm
ridiculous
literally
loud.
cannot go past 1.5 in
Right.
his house without
Too loud.
without breaking things.
Well, that was like the whole
Yeah.
reason why Ed turned to the Variac, because he wanted to crank. I mean, because he would, I mean, we all know the story. He wanted that cranked sound, but
well, that's
I
why
mean,
I have
just the fact that when you read, like, I think it was Greg's book, and he talks about, just turning it up to like 1 or 2, that Marshall was so loud that, I mean, you couldn't go.
Well, the story is actually, if I may, he
yeah, absolutely, because I don't know if I remember it correctly.
His first Marshall amp was actually an English Marshall amp, so it was running on the English voltage.
English voltage, yeah.
So when he plugged it in, it wouldn't make any noise, and so he turned it all the way up, and he could hear it very faintly.
Right.
But what he heard very faintly was the sound, right? So then he figured out that if he used a separate power amp, the Variac, he could use that as the dimmer switch.
Power source, yeah.
And
it was like 220, 221, whatever.
Yeah, whatever it took. And that's how he discovered using a separate power master volume for his rig. And plus he was so hooked on the sound that he had to use that cranked sound wherever he went, but he couldn't, once he got real Marshalls, American made Marshalls, he wanted that crank sound anyway, but he couldn't play that cranked amp sound in a smaller club, so he would use the Variac to mess with the volume, even though the amp was cranked. And that's, he changed the whole world. People don't even talk. They talk about his guitars and putting a humbucker and a Strat and all that, but he changed amps too. And no one really talks about that. Yeah,
that's the whole reason why there are attenuators in Marshalls now. Is they, they've heard people that want to have a half stack that want to pound the shit out of it, but they can't crank it up in their house. So you snap that attenuator on it. You can burn half those tubes up, warm them up, and still get sort of the same juice out of it without 100 watts.
I mean, it's remarkable that.
And that's an Eddie Van Halen thing. That's not that Marshall didn't come up with that.
No. And that's what's remarkable about him is not even the playing. He came up with this alternate way of using the electronics, and he just so happened to be the greatest player in the world. To me, that's mind-boggling. Someone else should have come up with the.
Well, it's like Les Paul. I mean, Les Paul invented so many things as well.
Right, and look at him. He was a sick player too, an amazing player for the time.
Yeah. Les Paul his playing goes woefully underrated because of all of the other things that he did. But when you think about the legato that he brought, his left hand, Les Paul's left hand is as fast as anything, or was as fast as anything Malmsteen or Michael Baccio or Vi or any of that stuff. And he did it without the benefit of distortion. So it was clean.
Yeah. Right. And he did it looking at it, and he did it while looking at his wife. In those film clips, you know, he's just looking at her while he's doing it.
Like it was nothing.
Holy shit. He's not even looking at it.
Watch some of those old film clips. It's amazing to see him.
But I don't think he ever did a string bend on anything. He had the little tiny frets, and he would never.
Oh, he never. Yeah, he never even needed to. It was all just digits.
Now that said, he did speed up his recordings.
Really?
Well, and people give him crap for he used too much technology and stuff. But he
invented that technology though. That technology didn't exist before.
But he still he shredded before any. He was like a Django just with just a couple fingers. I mean, just going crazy and.
Look, if you can't do it with an acoustic guitar in your left hand, you can't do it. And like Les Paul could do it with an acoustic guitar in his left hand. That's like one of the things that's the most impressive things about watching Zakk Wylde play. Watching him play acoustically is so much more impressive than watching him
play a Hello Kitty guitar.
Yeah. He's I mean, when you put an acoustic in his hand, it's ridiculous.
Sure. Mm-hmm. What are those mini gold tops? Those are those back from the era of like the 50s, or are those more modern?
I don't think so.
Or are they even Gibson? So. Are they even Gibsons? I mean, are those real Gibson minis?
Yes.
That's kind of cool. They say Gibson on it. That doesn't necessarily.
I don't.
But
think,
I guess if Les is going to pause, if Les is holding him, you're right. But Ed needed to get his hands on one of those for.
They're cool.
Little guitars.
They're very cool. Well, it's got the one neck pickup though.
Yeah, so just get rid of it. So it's garbage.
Well, no.
Where are those now? Those things are going to be worth.
You can't have it too loud for too long.
No. Well, look, anything Les Paul touched is going to be worth, something. He's
Well,
one of-
Joe Bonamassa owns it already, whatever he let touch. So it's okay.
Yes, exactly. I mean, one of the two greatest names in guitar history. So
Is that the
Credit where
log
credit-
on the right?
Him-
No, with the Wikipedia.
no,
Nah.
No.
he and Leo invented it all. They got it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
They got it right. There's a reason why everything out there is a variation off of either a Les
That's
Paul
what
or a
it is.
Strat.
Yeah.
And they knew each other. And what's crazy is like it would be the greatest movie in the world if it wasn't just a few of us that cared about it. It would be
Yeah.
just seeing how that all came about would be the most interesting film I'd ever watch. But
it reminds me of you ever see any of the Looney Tunes documentaries, like the documentaries on tribute to Fritz Freeling and stuff like that?
Or
Blanc.
the directors or the Mel Blanc one.
Those guys would purposely make cartoons to screw with Disney. All right. But the thing that I love about it is they would go, like one guy would write a storyboard for a character and write it and then bring it across the hallway to the next guy. And all you'd hear is giggling come out of the other room. And then they'd walk into a third room. And then if like they got to 3 rooms and there was laughter, they were like, okay, let's go with that. That was the thing that Leo and Les would do, is Les would invent something, bring it over to Leo and go, what do you think? Leo wouldn't steal the idea. He'd go, oh man, that's cool. And then make his own idea that was something not to top him, but to sort of go, okay, well, that's what Les is doing. I'm going to do this, not to screw with him in a competitive way, but
they
to
pushed
do
each other.
They pushed each other in a way.
Have you guys read the book, the Leo and Les book? There is a book about that whole story.
Oh,
the
no.
Leo and Les story.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
We'll have to look. Johnny, see if you can find that.
There's the treatment for the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, what a beautiful story. The idea that two of the greatest names in guitars were complementary, friendly, and realized that together they could rule the world.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about being dominant because they were different guitars. Let's face it, the Telecaster and the Stratocaster owned the country world, and the Les Paul owned the jazz world. They were in different. Now, obviously, eventually everything crossed over, but the intent was they were different instruments for different styles.
Right, and they stayed away from each other's signatures, creation. So
it's called the birth of loud.
It's all that Van Halen guy screwed everything up.
He was one of them
by marrying them together.
He was one of them, certainly.
Loud, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll order that.
Yeah, I'm in.
I read it in the bookstore. I read like the first chapter in the books. It was interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, because why would you pay for it
when you could just get a good preview and read it in the bookstore? Yeah.
Yeah.
I read the whole Sammy book in the bookstore.
By the way, Dane has like the good lighting tonight. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That's a good look right there. I like that.
Hello and welcome to Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
I got a BC Rich banner I was gonna hang up and I didn't get around to it. But Phil McKnight came into my shop about 2 or 3 months ago, and he sold me a whole bunch of banners. I got a Boss banner and all kinds of stuff. And or he did a trade where all he wants is Boss pedals. But yeah, I got a really cool BC Rich banner. I've already sold a bunch of them.
Has anybody tried or have those Boss headphones yet?
No.
Boss headphones? No.
No.
Man.
What have you heard? I haven't heard about them.
Well, they like won the NAMM, prize for
really?
the best product at NAMM, and apparently,
cool, Zane.
There's there's an effect in them when you put them on that puts the amp over at a point in the room. So when you turn your head while you're playing,
oh, that's right. I heard someone.
You hear the amp; it stays where it is in your.
That's
ear.
really cool. Yeah,
that's insane. I want to try that, but there's a clip of Steve Vai and some other players trying it for the first time.
And what would be the practical application of that?
Like servos or something. I mean, it's some kind of technology that hasn't.
No, but what would be the application? Like, what would you use that for?
It's just a way. It's
for practicing musician, I guess.
It makes you feel like you're live in the room with an amp that's sitting at one location in the room.
Oh, okay.
So it tricks your head into believing that there's an amp over on that side of the room. Does that make sense?
It's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
realistic
I
than
know.
headphones because headphones would keep it,
Yeah, headphones
and
keep
right.
it right in your head,
You're gonna-
but to
the
actually
stereo,
have it
that's-
to where you turn your head.
How
and
accurate?
it-
I mean, just to know how accurate it is, though. I mean, is
It's
is
gotta be
is it
something-
glitchy, like you're gonna hear it.
It won the
That's my-
award, dude.
Yeah,
It
that's
won
really
the
cool.
award for best product, so I'm sure it's
It's an
amazing.
interesting idea.
I felt the same way. Like I felt like it was impossible to get something great out of. I'm not saying I feel like it's impossible for this. I'm asking that question. When I bought some of those Bose frames, which are basically Ray-Ban. They look like Ray-Ban sunglasses with a Bose sound system in them that you Bluetooth to your music player. And I was like, well, there's no way this is going to sound any good. I mean, the speakers are tiny and it's in the arms of a pair of sunglasses. So I put them on and I Bluetoothed them in. And the first thing I did was load some Van Halen into that. And I was like, wow. Like it was like in the middle of your brain, whatever they did, whoever the engineers were, and it had bass reflex and everything. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I have to own these. And I bought them and everybody I've given them to listen to was like, oh, I have to own these. Like you never think that there's a use for that. And then you put them on and you go, oh, this is, I don't remember. I can't remember life before that. So I can imagine those headphones, once you put them on, say I've got this amp over my right shoulder and I'm playing and I turn and it still feels like that amp is over my right shoulder would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the music moving with you.
The ones you were talking about are sunglasses.
Yeah.
So whenever you want to listen to good music, you have to wear sunglasses. I mean, I guess it fits, but
I'm in a
did
place.
it sound unique enough that it was,
gotta look
like
cool.
a different kind of a sound system, like
I'm
than headphones and different than.
No, the beautiful thing about it is like I can carry on a conversation with somebody while having music on, like having my own sound, and they never and ignore them, which is the beauty of it. And I live in a place where the sun shines 330 days a year, so wearing sunglasses is not all that
it's
weird an accessory
Always good
here.
there.
You know what I mean? It's kind of a necessity.
But I mean, they could have. I mean, they probably did incorporate it into headphones as well. Or is it a different? Do they use speakers or do they use like kind of a
No, there
like
are
sonic
little
kind of
speakers.
like a sonic?
No,
kind
there are
of
little
thing?
speakers in the. I can go get them, but they're in the.
That's a
arms.
cool idea.
Yeah.
It's a real cool idea. Yeah.
You have them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Let's check it out.
We want to see you in sunglasses.
Caleb, describe those new Boss headphones again. What exactly do they do?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they do more than what I described, but what the interesting thing was, and what if you look up the video, I'm sure it's on YouTube. It puts the amp in a certain part of the room, so that when you turn your head, it always stays there. It's not in your head. Does that makes sense? It's over here. So if you want to look at
The
it
stereo
straight,
spectrum.
if you look at where it is, then it's straight on and you have stereo. Or so it just gives you the idea that the amp is somewhere in the room and not in your head.
So you're sort of always on the perfect. A lot of times I play gigs and if the gig is long enough and I'm on stage long enough, I'll finally walk around on the stage long enough where I can hear everything perfect. I find the little perfect spot on the stage. And so does it kind of do something like that where it almost keeps you in that perfect spot up on the stage? You're not in front of something too loud like a monitor or the guitar's not too far away.
It just changes the dynamic of putting on headphones. It makes you feel like that there's an actual amp in the room with you and not just in your head. Does that make sense? Like it gives you a feel that the amp is somewhere else other than in the headphones. It gives that sense.
Yeah.
So if you just turn your head a little, it's going to stay where it was.
So it's tracking something, or it's just tracking where you are in the room.
Yeah.
But it's kind of putting the
Johnny, is there like a video?
Across the left and right.
Is there a video you can bring in?
What are they called? I'm on.
Just like go Boss headphones and see if it. Let me see.
They're coming for some.
That's
They're coming. They're coming
Santa
from
Monica.
what of you?
It's here.
It's not here.
Boss.
Waza.
Yeah.
It's the Waza. Let me see, because you search Boss and Boys. What are we called? Bose.
Don't search Boys. Don't
Don't
search
search
Boys.
that.
Bose takes over. The Bose
Get in
headphones.
jail.
All right, so these things, they come with like a little, like a USB cord that you attach to them, and they're essentially like Ray-Bans, right?
Oh yeah.
And then if you look inside in the arms, that tiny little gray thing next to, see where the brass thing is?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where the fitting is? See that little gray thing? You can barely see it? That's the speaker.
Wow.
And on the bottom, you'll see the little volume
Oh yeah.
on both sides. And like literally, and that's it. There's just 2 speakers on them. And you Bluetooth them and crank them in, and they're just, and you can hold a conversation with somebody.
But could the other person hear what you're listening to, or it only goes to your ears, really?
No,
so it's more vibrations than actual speakers. Or
no, you can hear that. Like if you take them off, you can hear it a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah. But they're doing something like vibrating in your bone in your head or something to
whatever it is.
It's a cool idea, yeah. I mean, I've heard like different sonic ways to get the sound into your head, basically, and that's kind of a, it's
Whatever
not disturbing other people like just like headphones is, but it's a different way to do it.
Cool. Whatever it is they're doing, that'll be $300, please.
Yeah.
Wow, they seem really cool.
They are cool. They're ridiculous. You don't need them until you put them on. And then once you put them on, you're like, oh, Jesus, I have to have these. And it's like great because like you can wear them while driving. So like if you want to Bluetooth something off your phone, or you're
just not at night,
or if you're with somebody, well, not in Arizona.
I wear sunglasses at night.
But thank you, Corey.
So you can what?
So I can. I can.
Da, 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 da. I know that.
But
song. I can't think of what he's.
But they're insane. Yeah.
By the way, I was driving tonight. It's foggy here in Los Angeles by the ocean, and has anybody else noticed people put their brights on in the fog, and that's an instant like I'm a stupid motherfucker move? Like
doesn't help. Yeah, that does not.
It only makes it worse.
Right.
It's unbelievable, and every 4th car has their brights on.
How about the assholes that put their fog lights on when there's no fog, like on the bottom of their truck?
Oh, I do that. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have the problem out here in Arizona where we get the occasional sandstorm.
Yeah. Oh, those are frightening.
Same thing. People will pull over the side of the road and they'll leave their brake lights on, or they'll leave their tail lights on, and other cars will be like, "Oh, there's a car. I'll follow that one," and it's parked.
Was a air.
So I can keep track.
Where's the video
in my eyes?
Keep track of visions in my eyes. Yeah.
You gotta play that video of like Steve Vai
I can
freaking out when he put them on.
Yeah, I did see that video. That was where.
If it's from YouTube, I can't play it.
What about the Sweetwater video? No. Okay.
If it's on YouTube, I can't do it because what can happen is they can get an alert and they can have this video deleted.
Okay.
You can't cross-pollinate videos on YouTube anymore.
Can't cross the streams.
Yeah.
Don't cross the streams.
That looks cool. I'm sure it sounds cool. Those headphones and those sunglasses together. Yeah.
Probably wouldn't work, right?
And the shorts.
Watching are the YouTube videos where the young kids are listening to like the first time ever listening to like Dogs by Pink Floyd or something. Mm-hmm. Don't you love watching these
reaction videos? I got sick of that after they did the whole
kid, and he literally came to tears. He was smoking a joint. He put Pink Floyd on, and it literally like was emotional for him. Yeah. And
awesome.
Kids don't listen to all that good stuff.
Sorry, Janice. We apologize.
Oh, is it me? Sorry, Janice. I come on the show and people fall asleep.
No, I did see your favorite. One of your biggest fans is in the chat, which is nice.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
That's what happens.
One of my biggest fans is back in action, leaving comments everywhere. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you
it's
see?
good.
Did you see? Molly posted that EVH Gear took out the trash.
Oh,
That was nice. They updated their artist page and took out the trash.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
yeah. I'm a fan of the new artist page, actually.
Yeah, my response.
Can we see that?
My response was, "Who's Caleb Rappaport?" Which you gotta
Yeah.
get the shirt. Who the fuck is Caleb Rappaport?
I got to, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's crazy.
Johnny, can we see that page?
Here it comes.
I'm looking. Yeah, the whole site is revamped. It's
Yeah,
all
they redid the whole thing.
all brand new. Let's see. Is it?
Hey, Carlos. What's up, buddy?
Carlos. There you are.
Carlos, such a good dude, man. Carlos met me at the Play It Loud exhibit. He was messaging me saying, because he knew I was in town. He was like, "When are you going? When are you going?" And I was like, "I'll be here then." And he was right there waiting for me. And we went, and my cousin Dave was with us, and spent half an afternoon there with him, and it was awesome. Great dude, and brought me a T-shirt, a Yankee shirt, and it's nice to have just people out there that are really cool. I love you, Johnny Beaner. Who's that? Message retracted. That's him, right?
Yeah.
I just
God,
no
these people.
clue. Here
I-
we go.
If he retracted his message, then he did it himself. So
Oh,
I always wished I could play
Oh.
bass and do the Michael Anthony thing in a Van Halen tribute.
look at
dude,
that.
There you are.
I don't know who that
Crazy.
is.
that's crazy.
Well, let's go to his page.
There's only
Let's
one.
find out
Pete
who. Let's
Rappaport.
find out who he is.
Oh, those are links to all the Nerd Halen sites, and the View Gear is going to show you if you want to it's going to show you a USA Wolfgang, because that's what I'm playing in the picture, and that's what I mean. I use a Wolfgang, but I think when the Frankenstein comes, it'll switch to the Frankenstein. So
Nice.
Awesome.
Why would you want to play that?
Now, isn't one of the pickups? Do you see how they're zebra striped, but you have the white on the forward on both pickups?
that's what Eddie did. He did that with his Music Man, 20 plus years ago. So 25 plus years ago. Yeah, he flipped the front one, and that's what they do now.
Yeah. Ever since he flipped it, all the PVs were like that. All the EVHs are like that.
Yeah, but
The Music Mans are not, but you can flip it yourself, which is what I did. As soon as I saw the picture of him with the thing reversed, I just went ahead and did it. I remember sitting there on my porch, just doing it, just because,
I just noticed that I think we were talking about my Amber Music Man actually has a detuner on it. Didn't know it was on it.
where'd you get your Amber from?
I think Reverb.
Do you know the date on that one?
Yeah. It's not yours. We
It's
talked about that.
99, isn't it?
No, not the PV.
No, it's a 92 probably, I think. But
93, January 14th of 93.
oh, that's right. It's a week before mine.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's gonna just turn up somewhere.
I saw one similar to yours on the Music Man page on Facebook.
Yeah. Man. Kick myself.
Do you have everybody out looking for it? They are out on all the alerts.
No.
looking for you?
No. And I hope someday I can grab one again. That's the plan. Is I can just grab another one. But
That's the way I was. I know.
I can't do it now.
When I sold my Kramer Focus 30 years ago, it's like I know it's still in New England somewhere. I know the last place I saw it was at a pawn shop.
Whoa.
Nice.
That's a white Invader. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that thing.
Now this is John. This is the thing. You get yourself a $95 guitar and you make the most of it.
I know, man. That's my jam.
Right? That's
That's what I'm gonna
John
do,
BL.
man.
And this, it doesn't have a real Floyd on it. It's just a regular kind of a Squire trem on it.
Got the
As long as it
quarter.
stays in
What
tune
year's-
and
what
it
year's the
sounds
quarter, Dane? What year's the quarter?
reverse headstock. That's cool.
The quarter is 1984.
Oh boy.
Oh,
I'm like,
nice.
come on, that's-
If it's not going to be
I think it says 94
It says 90 something.
or 90, 91.
95.
84 would be the second coolest year.
What year is it?
Oh,
Dane has a menagerie of poorly made 5150 striped guitars. Like a whole bunch of them have come
Poorly
in.
made.
oh no.
No, he's got a whole bunch of them that have come in, and then every once in a while he gets a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I love all guitars. I'm not too, I make the most out of what it is. If it's a real piece of junk, man, I'll polish the frets. I'll throw a $20 invader in it and,
he's
put a
done-
little bit of lube on the nut and just have a great time.
Whoa. Hey now.
We do
Sometimes that's all it takes.
we used to I wish you still did Junk Guitar Day. I love Junk Guitar Day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dane used
what,
to-
what was
he used
that?
to stream- He used to stream. Used to do a stream from his shop called Junk Guitar Day, and it was a contest to see which one of us could bring the worst guitar in.
I have the winner back here. These are a lot of my Junk Guitar Day winners.
Oh,
Junk Guitar Day was my favorite thing that used to happen at Dane's shop. It was like I almost brought my Les Paul copy in for Junk Guitar Day, but it couldn't possibly win over some of the
This
shit
is
he's
the
had.
winner of Junk Guitar Day. Because it's pink. And it's got a
oh.
Floyd.
Yeah,
It looked like it was one of the old HM Strats.
Wait a minute.
this
Wait, that.
is a,
Let me see that Floyd.
Ian Squire.
Is that one of those? Is that a Floyd Rose 2?
Probably.
Is that where you feed the strings through the very bottom? Yeah.
Yes.
Through
Oh,
the right
man.
there.
Right through the back.
Oh, those are awful.
Wow.
Because
are-
dive bomb all the way, there's nothing that's really supporting the string right there. It can flop back
Those do
and forth.
not stay in tune at all.
They
God.
stay out of tune.
Yeah, that's not even a Floyd Rose 2.
But all you got
That's
to do is put a
a
real
generic
Floyd on it.
version of a Floyd Rose 2, which is even
No,
worse.
Johnny, that's a
Would it
Lloyd
fit?
Rose. It's a Lloyd Rose.
Yeah,
It's a Lloyd Rowe.
Guitar Day.
It's a Royd Lowe's. It was made in China.
Royd,
Lloyd flows.
Royd flows.
Royd Lowe's.
Ouch.
I'd sit and jam this thing every day for about 6 months. I'd just play this thing
No,
every day.
yeah. Junk
Look at
Guitar
that.
Day. Junk Guitar Day rules at Dane's place.
Look at that neck, though. That's the neck that John Bale needs on his guitar.
Yes.
What we were talking about last time.
That's
Send
the,
that to
that's
New
the
England.
neck that didn't fit.
Send that to New England.
That's the neck. That
Where
didn't
was that?
fit.
Is that at Korea?
Yeah.
Fender necks won't fit on that. The one that I have.
I
Or
thought
at
you
least
tore a
the-
Fender neck off that
Look at
body,
that.
though.
Just
No,
the-
No, it was
Fender
a Kramer.
necks are a
Oh,
real Fender.
lacquer. Like
Oh, it
that.
was a Kramer, yeah. Made in Korea.
E9 serial number, whatever that means.
89.
No, because maybe so, yeah.
89.
Maybe 1991.
87.
From the 80s, man. There it is. Junk Guitar Day winner.
Yeah, it's definitely the HM Strat configuration.
Yeah.
So it could be an 89.
And just I
Yeah.
have it wired up where just this pickup works. No 5-way switch or anything. You got this pickup.
I like
one-
the empty switch holes. Yeah.
You mean it didn't come
good
like
touch.
that? Or?
No, that was a modification.
How about the relic? Was that a true relic or what? A chip.
So that's the winner, huh?
That would be a great show, by the way. Just
Guitar Day about
terrible guitars. Like,
Oh
just-
no, it's great.
that'd be a great show idea. Like the worse the guitar, the better.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. Junk
Where-
Guitar Day.
After a couple of episodes, I was like, you know what? People are going to get the impression that the only thing I have down here in the shop are junk guitars.
Maybe not best for
It's really
PR,
a
but
good idea to keep doing this.
Promoting how terrible your stock is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, you need to make like a 99-cent bin, like at your shop.
Oh, no,
and
he's-
just have a bunch
I
of
got
guitars
one.
just
No, I got-
hanging out.
$60 rack.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's got about
He's
maybe
also done
6 or 8 guitars.
He's also done giveaways for the hell of it. Like he's just like something. He's like, oh, this is just I can't sell this. First person who comes down that it wants it, come get it.
Yeah,
That was like Daddy's Junkie Music, man.
Wow.
You could go in there and find a $25 electric, something, an old Sears or something.
Put a big air horn on the roof of your shop and just like ring the air horn and just like, and then people start running and then you know that you're giving
Free
a guitar.
guitars.
It's like
I thought about doing a during this whole lockdown thing and everything. I have a nice little kind of patio out in front of my store. I have a nice area, and I have a canopy that I was going to set up, and it's almost getting too hot, but I almost set my canopy up in front of my store. Put my little PA system out there. Put a little stool.
Sidewalk sale.
No, I was going to have a sale. I was going to do a live concert by myself.
Oh, dude, rent
an
Airstream.
And strum an acoustic and sing and yeah.
Rent an Airstream. Just sit out in front of your shop like in an Airstream or something. That'd be cool.
Like Cousin Eddie from Vegas Vacation.
Well, that's like the people who sell Christmas trees. That's what they use.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the great thing is the place next door to him is a quinceañera hall, which is awesome. Like it's called Salon Modelo.
Awesome when the 15-year-old girls have their parties.
Yeah, it's for a 15-year-old Mexican girl. It's basically like a bat mitzvah for
Nice.
Mexican girls. Yeah. So your quinceañera is a big thing in Mexican culture or Arizona culture, which is Mexican culture. But Dane was in his shop the other day, and the guy that runs the Salon Modelo was detailing his shitbox pickup truck from like front to back.
Yeah.
Because he has nothing else to do. And he had this radio with the most amazing Latino music, like pounding for hours outside of his shop.
Amazing Latino. There is amazing Latino music. Good. Usually they don't play the amazing stuff.
No, it was like samba, and it was just really loud and like it just the really
accordion music. It's all accordion music.
I love that. That stuff is great, but
according
usually
to who?
You're walking into the accordion polka. It's almost like it's got
it's almost like a squeeze box and.
Good morning, Simon. Good morning.
It's the Tito Puente. You want to hear like the Tito Puente stuff.
Simon.
But for some reason, I didn't mind having that going on because it at least there was some sort of life and activity going on somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it's so happy too. Like it's the most happy.
Oh
place
yeah,
in the
absolutely.
World, you know what I mean? So it was almost like for a moment there, we were all maintaining our distance, but for a moment it was like everybody was just sort of hanging out, like enjoying the day. And for a couple of hours, it didn't feel like we were locked down.
Right.
It was a moment of freedom.
Yeah, they closed down the Mexican restaurant down the street, which was the best, Mexican kind of street food. But they had to close.
Now
they're not doing to go.
No, I don't know. Just one day I went over there and it was completely closed. There's a sign on the door, but I didn't see what the sign said. I just pulled up and it was closed. So.
Caleb, have you ever had anything off of Trejo's food trucks?
Trejo's?
Yeah, Danny Trejo.
Oh no, but he's got a taco place on La Brea, but I haven't hit it up yet.
Everybody says that Danny Trejo, who you might know from movies, he's always from Machete. He has like a fleet of food trucks, road coaches, if you will.
I didn't know that.
That go all over LA and are winning like competitions, like food truck competitions and shit. The food is apparently to die for. Like he's making more money off that than he did in movies.
Oh yeah, dude.
Well, that's because he tells his cook, "Hey man, you got to make this the best food that there could possibly be, or I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, or I'll cut you.
Yeah.
In your best Danny Trejo voice or impression,
Yeah,
it can be intimidating. I think that he could be an intimidating.
Times have changed. Women can do stuff now.
I was watching a live stream. Just to let you guys know, I watch a lot of live streamers on YouTube, and one of the no, and there this guy that I watch, he went over there to his restaurant, and he was in there live streaming as he was eating, and the dude comes walking in, like he came into the restaurant and he walked up behind him, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think of the food?" He's like, he freaked out because he was like right there,
That's
awesome.
real.
Yeah. So you go there and you eat, and he could show up.
My favorite,
You know,
watching the news the other night, not the other night, but a couple of weeks back, when like there was a huge car accident at an intersection in LA, and who comes running out of the crowd to pull somebody out of the car but Danny Trejo.
Mm-hmm.
I saw
Like,
that.
he's like a superhero in LA.
Well, who was
Pretty
it?
amazing.
Was it Mark Harmon or someone who saved someone's life back in the day? That was the same kind. You know, you hear the celebrities when they, they jump into action. Or was it Matt? I can't even think of who it was.
Matt Damon.
Matt Harmon.
Sorry.
Matt Harmon. Yeah. I don't know. There's been a couple of those kind of celebrity hero stories from the past few years.
I got some LA questions here. Is La Brea near Van Nuys? It's about 4 miles away over the hill. Van Nuys is in the valley, and La Brea is in Hollywood. So not very close. But and also I got the ceiling fan. Yes, I'm very close to the ceiling fan when I walk back there. It's very close. The lights under it are just above my head. Like,
aren't you like 6'8" or something like that?
No, I'm not 6'8".
he's like 9 feet tall.
6'9".
I'm 6'4", and I'm probably shrinking, so it's probably 6'3.5". So
I think I've shrunk. I used to be 6'2". Now I'm 6'1" something.
yeah. But yeah, no, I don't hit my head on that ceiling fan. Thank you. But I have hit my hand just by raising it, or I've actually struck a guitar neck because when you take a guitar off or something,
Yeah,
it's higher than your head.
Guitar.
That's not
I've
good.
done that. Taking a shirt off next to a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
I got rid of the one I had in this room.
That's
You
worst.
can break your hand. You can break your hand. Yeah.
Break a finger easily. That's why the ceiling fan in this room is never running.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only room in the house where I don't turn the ceiling fan on.
I took my shirt off one time, and there was all these muscles all of a sudden, like just
everywhere. It suck when that happens.
How'd that happen?
Right? And I mean, all these clams and oysters.
Oh, the smell. Yeah.
No, mussels.
Muscle shoals.
Yeah.
I can't believe all of you let crabs go by. You all let it go by.
That's Mancuda's territory.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice delayed response from Johnny Beane.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, that was from last week.
Yes,
I was just replying to last
Pink's
week.
Pink's Hot Dogs is on La Brea and Melrose, so you're close there. That's where you know your stuff.
La Brea Tar Pits. I've heard of that. That's
La Brea Tar Pits. That was mentioned here in the chat earlier.
Yeah,
and that's kind of near Disney, isn't it? I mean, Anaheim in that area. No. All right. I don't have. I guess I don't have my LA geography correct.
No. La Brea Tar Pits is near the Grove, kind of Fairfax area. So it's right near where Biggie got shot.
Oh, that corner. I know that place.
That's Fairfax and Wilshire.
Johnny, get your Google Earth going.
There's been a YouTuber, and he has a helicopter, and he's been flying over LA just in there, and he's showing the freeways. He flew over Magic Mountain the other day, and he got to fly over Disneyland, and there's just nobody out. And he every week or so he's been going up in his helicopter, and so I've been watching those. Those are really interesting, just to see LA with nobody around.
Walt Disney Concert Hall is downtown LA. So yeah.
Is that the one that's all aluminum, or it used to be all aluminum, and they had to change it because it was too reflective?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember I interviewed for a program director job in LA, and the studios were in Culver City, in just the shittiest neighborhood. Like there's like a steel gate to get through the front gates there, and like an armed guard in the front lobby. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want this job.
Yeah, right.
What network was it?
It was actually it was KLOS.
Oh, so that was just La Cienega.
The old building.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little south. It's right next to South Central.
Yeah, it's not a nice place.
It's a little, you go south of the 10 in that area. You're in the
How long has KLOS had that format?
Oh, since the 70s.
Yeah, 40-something years.
Mm-hmm. Since the 70s.
But it's had its ups and downs.
Was it classic rock or just rock kind of?
Yeah, it was
modern rock.
It was rock and roll back in the day. Now they would consider it classic rock. But yeah, There was two
They're trying
stations
to
in LA.
redefine it.
There were two stations in LA that did it. It was KMET, KLOS in the late 70s and into the mid 80s. Those were the two big stations that played rock and roll. Like they were the ones, you know, they both, let's put it the way, both those stations carried the US Festival live.
Oh man.
Like front to back, like the whole thing.
I'm telling you, for years I've been looking for a stereo recording of the whole Van Halen set, and I don't think there is one. I mean, but if it was, and everybody says it was broadcast all over the.
I bet you they did whatever they could to get rid of it, because you know it's notorious as being like one of their worst sets.
Oh ever. yeah, and they've buried as much as they can of it.
Exactly.
I've been looking for the opposite. I want to find a bootleg recording of that.
There is one. There is an audience recording of it. And
like an actual one?
Yeah, you can hear they're in the crowd, and it's definitely it's been on. I shared it with you.
That's what you want to hear. There'll be no edits. You know, none of that. You know,
there's two official recordings. One from the video, which is
not official. I don't want official.
Well, no. There's two unofficial. Bootleg recordings. One from the video and
the
one
official
from
bootleg.
the audience. But you can, I mean, you could conceivably make a stereo recording out of that. But and then there's the Showtime stuff the Westwood One stuff.
Yeah,
that has highlights. You can't get the whole, but you can't get from beginning to end in stereo.
Right.
I can't find it. I've never found it.
Yeah, there's other stuff. There's other stuff
selected tracks in stereo.
When I went there, when I went there for the interview, I suggested we do an anniversary of a 30-year anniversary of the office. So this is what 2012, 2013. Do a 30-year anniversary concert, and the management of the radio station had no idea what I was talking about, and I knew right then and there that I was not going to get that job.
I actually was at the US Festival.
Oh wow!
There you go.
Yeah, I was there.
Heavy Metal Day or all the days?
I went in there for Saturday. But you know what would have been really fun to see is the Friday show would have been really fun to see.
Well, you two,
was that the one
when Bono climbed the lighting ring?
Yeah, and Bowie.
Bowie headlined that night.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The Clash played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, New Rock night or New Wave
Day.
New Wave Day, yeah.
And during
that was a coming out party for you too.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that would have been the show.
Was on, and wasn't Blondie part of it too on Friday?
Probably.
Yeah.
Johnny,
Johnny, bring up the shirt. The shirt has all the if you find the shirt,
or even just the Wikipedia has the whole timing and everything on the whole.
Give me a second. I gotta let the dogs out.
But yeah, I was there, and
there's Dane right there.
Oh, Dane!
You see that long-haired blonde dude?
I see you.
And my skin is completely sunburnt. That's me right there.
His hair is exactly the same.
You know what, though? I remember Quiet Riot was the opening band, and I'd never heard of them. And there, I saw a couple dudes walking around with T-shirts that said "Bang Your Head," and I'm like, "What the hell? Bang your head? What the heck?"
It was like the first record that I ever bought was, or I didn't buy it, but I ever possessed was Metal Health.
Well, it's amazing.
82, 83.
Van Halen and Quiet Riot were in such competition back in the club days that the irony was that you can see the bill there. Quiet Riot's at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they went on first.
They're not even on that list. Look, they're not even on it because they went up before. Who's Joe? What?
No, some of those people didn't play. Who? It's what is? I can't see what it says.
Yeah, because it was a holiday
Scorpions,
weekend.
Triumph.
Yeah.
I was there on Sunday then.
Yeah, it's a holiday weekend.
Joe must have dropped out. Whoever that Joe
felt like a Saturday.
And you know what? And then Motley Crue came on, and I had never heard of Motley Crue.
Oh wow!
But they played Helter Skelter, and I'm like, whoa! They're throwing a Beatles tune at us. And then, of course, I knew Ozzy, and I was a huge Triumph fan. But it finally started to get dark out at when the Scorpions came on. Mm-hmm. So that means we finally had like a light show, and we finally had the big TV monitors. and the Scorpions stole the show. They were hot with their Blackout album, whatever it was.
No, I heard they were just as much of a mess as Van Halen, because that's another show that's not, you can't find that complete show with the Scorpion set. I heard that they were a mess as well.
Look at Joe Walsh. See, they have Joe Walsh on Sunday. That's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
It was on Monday.
Yeah, that's probably an early.
Okay, so David Bowie and the Clash were separate nights. Look at that.
And there was a second weekend too.
John Cougar.
You can find a lot of the Judas Priest YouTube videos up from that.
There's all but one song, I think. The Priest, a great set.
I thought the Scorpions were good. I didn't notice.
Triumph and Priest kind of stole that for me. I mean, in my opinion, from the sets that I've seen, and just about every set's out there except for Scorpions.
Yeah, go back
and
to that
Ozzy.
last
I
one.
think Ozzy only has part of his out.
Okay, that'll have the.
There you go.
Hey,
yeah.
what's Joe Walsh doing there?
God, it even did
wrong day, right?
It even went on Monday.
He would not fit on that bill. He should be on Monday. Yeah.
Well, see, this is all pre-printed stuff, so maybe
just get the
Triumph
changed.
Oh yeah, Triumph's on there. Triumph was only on there because of Wozniak.
If you find a T-shirt, like a copy of a picture of the T-shirt, it will have the official.
Well, it's funny though, because you go down that list of bands and how many of them went on to be great, and then you go to the list of bands that played Live Aid and how many of them were useless.
But Live Aid had twice as many people.
Right, yeah, but
and they were all doing half sets too.
But like the bands that played at the US Festival, more
Live Aid didn't have twice as many people, dude. They had half a million people.
Half sets though. No.
No, he meant twice as many
performers.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant crowd-wise. Yeah.
So the idea that those bands that played the US Festival went on to be bigger than the bands that played Live Aid would eventually go on to be. I mean, not all of them, but you look at the list of performers at Live Aid, and there are who cares of bands.
The best thing about the US Festival was that every band played a full set, which was really cool. I mean, and not a lot of, and it was a two weekend. The last second weekend was country, but a 2 weekend 4-day show, basically. And that was like the old festivals of the 60s and 70s when they would, do a couple of days and all the bands would play full sets. Like what was it, the California Jam and those
Day on
the Greens. Like that, yeah, exactly.
Well, when I saw the what the hell do they call the name of the show? It was something at the Manning Bowl in Lynn. It was Motley Crue. And
a jam. It was one of those summer jams.
It was something jam, like summer jam or whatever it was. But it was it was Motley. It's supposed to be Helix. Helix never showed up, but it's Motley Crue except Y&T and Helix. And for whatever reason, Helix didn't show up, so we got a longer set from Y&T, which is always good because they were great. And except nobody knew who the hell they were, so that was funny to just watch the entire stadium go, "Who's that?" And then Motley came out and destroyed the place, and it was great. And then we left the Manning Bowl and destroyed the city of Lynn.
Yeah, they didn't have too many shows at the Manning Bowl after that, or I think did the Beatles play there?
Over and shit. The Beatles did, but years ago, yeah.
So they heard early concerts, and then they kind of
they had early concerts. Then it was that summer jam thing with Motley, and then nothing for a long time, and then Aerosmith. Aerosmith ended up playing the Manning Bowl, so that was
they probably convinced. They were local boys, so they probably convinced somebody to make that.
But work. That was a destination for a while. That was a place that an outdoor arena that people would play in the Massachusetts area that you could play.
Still, I think it was a small. I mean, maybe 8,000 people or something like that.
It's not that much, yeah.
Not a big.
Yeah, what's overlooked a lot about the Metal Day at the US Festival is that it was Jake E. Lee's coming out.
Right.
He absolutely killed the Ozzy set. Like, he was insane.
He saved the Ozzy set.
He was incredible.
Jake E. Lee was so good back in the day.
He gets a really, really bad rap because Ozzy was such a nightmare during that period. He was all fat and bloated with the the
that's what I mean. He saved his that period of Ozzy,
And then he went on and just crushed it on those Badlands records. unfortunately, the Red Dragon Cartel stuff is garbage. And that sucks because you want him, he was one of those guys that I was kind of hoping would come back with a great comeback so he could just be like, Sharon,
Right.
but
Everybody
it's not
votes
good.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a guy that people seem to they want him to do well, and for whatever reason he just can't get his shit together. And I'm told he's got a drinking issue, but I don't know for sure.
I believe that's the case. Yeah. Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Well, no. I mean.
In fact, I see SD Zine in the chat saying Eddie is a boozer. Yeah, Eddie was a boozer because his dad used to get the kids drunk when they were 12, and it was the only way Eddie could bring himself to perform was to get drunk to do it. So, his
old man had the disease.
It's a sad,
the way they were brought
thing.
up. That's how you do a show.
But that's the only way he could get out in front of people was to catch a buzz. So,
and to be honest with you, culturally, that was a generational thing back then. I can tell you as a kid, I got my first beers when I was like 6 or 7 from my parents.
Oh,
they would let you take a pull off the beer. They would let you take a pull off the beer. They would.
Well, it's like Mad Men.
Like that. And you're like, hey, can I have a sip? And they're like, yeah, have a sip. And nobody thought twice of it. So it's not like it was unheard of for kids to have a swig of alcohol. It's just
and they were from Europe. They were European too. So I mean, it was all. I mean, maybe in Holland, and I would assume in Holland it was probably no drinking age.
Yeah. So, but
Ozzy was like the world's greatest party band of all time, and so of course the guys in the band are like, "Yeah, I party." The guys walking around. I actually met Michael Anthony. And he was holding a bottle of Jack Daniels when I met Michael Anthony. So they played on, I think it was 1983 down here in Phoenix at the Coliseum. And so
Not 83.
I think it was 83.
It wasn't 83.
Wouldn't have been 83. They only did the South American tour and the US Festival in 83.
Okay, it was 82 then.
There you go.
But I got to meet him because after the show, we drove downtown Phoenix to the Hyatt Regency and stood out there with about 100 other fans, and their limos all pulled up and they got out, shaking hands and everything.
Putting on the show, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what it was like for when Al got sober, what it was like for Ed. I mean, how tough that was. What kind of discussions went on between the brothers at that point, because Al's been sober for 30 plus years, right?
Well, Eddie tried to get sober with him.
Eddie is not.
He tried to get sober. That whole 94 tour or 95 balance
he's been
tour, he was sober on that, or supposedly sober for most of it. In fact, they, every night they would say, this is the first time Eddie's ever been sober on stage, in this city. And
I'm sure Al was a big influence on him in that, and I'm sure
well, for a year,
as he could, for a year, he could. Whenever he could, yeah. But I mean, it's kind of like Ed lost his drinking buddy at that point. In 88 when Al kind of gave it up, right after his dad died, correct?
I think it might have been a little. I don't know the exact date of his sobriety.
I think that was kind of what spurred Al into sobriety.
There's my buddy Rico in the chat. Rico B. He came in my shop today.
Hey, Rico.
He says, US Festival attendance reported at 670,000 people.
But that was over
$12 million.
Over 2 weekends, yeah. Yeah, it didn't make it. Wozniak it was open about the fact it didn't make any money.
Well, he had to pay. Look at what he had to pay the artist.
There's some great technical,
like $3 million between Bowie and Van Halen.
Well, yeah, Guinness Book of World Records for the highest paid band at the time.
Yeah.
Well, again, when you pay Bowie 1.5 and a band has a $200,000 acceleration clause, congratulations.
You're the highest paid band in the world.
Yep. Bowie, they should have sent Bowie a gift basket.
Right. It took
Well,
care
and
of
they
their
also,
overhead.
I think they also had to sign a contract that they couldn't play any place else in the U.S. that year. I had heard that years ago that they couldn't. That was part of the deal.
Well, that
They
wasn't. But here's the great thing: they fleeced Wozniak and those guys because there were no plans to play anywhere in the United States that year.
Well, they were
Right. They were going to
They
record.
were, they were taking that year off anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it gave them an excuse to take the year off.
God bless Noel Monk. Nice job.
And Steve Wozniak.
Hey, Pascal. Good to see you, Pascal.
No, it's you know, I mean the amount of hype that Van Halen were able to create. I mean, between that and the skydiving thing, and you know all of the mystery surrounding the band. I mean, they took a little bit from the Gene Simmons, you know, trick bag and said, okay, well, spectacle matters. If spectacle matters, we're going to have a spectacle. The great thing about it was not only could they create spectacle, they could back it up musically. I mean, there wasn't a band out there like Van Halen, anything like Van Halen, singular in 1978. Nobody played that way. Not Zeppelin, not Aerosmith, not Kiss, nobody, not Thin Lizzy, nobody in that world. Priest, none of them could play like Van Halen. Nobody grooved like that, had that swing or that groove that could write something that both aggressive and yet popular and poppy. The idea that when the first time
accessible.
I heard Dance, whenever I heard the song, the first time I heard the song Dance the Night Away, I was like, this isn't the same band. Can't possibly be the same band. This is a pop song. This is a pop rock top 40 American bandstand song. How the hell are they doing this? This can't be the same band that wrote Atomic Punk.
Yeah.
And it was 10 months between records. You know what I mean? How great is that?
How great is it that that wasn't even a song that they had in their repertoire? Like they basically wrote that for the record
in the studio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, that's the same situation. Same situation that Deep Purple would Smoke on the Water. Shit, we need one more song. What do you think of this? And
that's always the hit. Like, you know, Smells Like Teen Spirit or something like that was always the last song that or Pour Some Sugar on Me was the last song that they wrote for that album.
And
yeah, Rico says Van Halen played 24 songs, including solos. Is that true? That's around, that's
the average of their shows, pretty much 24 songs.
That's pretty accurate.
But
a lot of music.
But it took 3 hours because they'd waste 4 minutes between every song.
I mean, they also include Intruder and Cathedral and those probably in some of those lists. But
Bass
by the
solo.
way,
Yeah.
some people would say that was a waste. I don't think they wasted a second. The way Roth milked that crowd in a way that gave those guys a chance to change guitars and do whatever.
He was a little sloppy, but yeah, you're right. He did his thing, and that was, you know.
I mean, they had to see what was going to happen. If you get there, you know, in the morning, and then you hang out all day, and you have to wait through 7-8 bands
with 300,000 of your best friends,
with probably the best cocaine you've ever had, like from the people that were there, right? All the people that got access.
You talking from Dave's point of view, or
from Dave and from the band? I mean, they had
cocaine. You know, was there that day, but honestly, we went.
Say that again, Dane.
I did not do Van.
Oh, okay.
But honestly, Van Halen was the reason that we made the drive, and all the other bands were just icing on the cake. But honestly, about halfway through the Van Halen show, we were like,
You'd been there for 12 hours.
We were wiped out. We were completely wiped out. We hardly made it back to
go to a regular show that's 3 hours long with an opening band, and you're getting.
Well, you can see like there's an interview, like the outtakes interviews that Dave did backstage. You know, he's
the bear sweater.
He's in his outfit, you know, and he's talking to Mark Goodman, and there's the unedited version of that interview, and it's, you know, probably like 35 minutes of content, and Dave is completely gone. And this is before, and this is
the press conference or something. This
was before. This is before the set.
They're in the dressing room.
Yeah, I've got it somewhere.
And Mark Goodman's
just dancing with the cup on his head.
Yeah, there's nothing like nothing is serious, and Mark Goodman's laughing his ass off, but Dave is just complete. It's like, if you think David Lee Roth is crazy in a regular interview, watch that interview. He's completely off the rails, and that's why, like in Noel Monk's book, he mentions how Dave, kind of ruined that set that night because he was so gone, and everyone was really mad at him because he was there. It is.
Yeah.
And I swear there were times I can still remember being at that show, and Eddie's looking at Dave going, come on, man, come on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like actually doing this.
Yep.
Come on.
Well, that era was kind of the beginning of the falling out.
Well, because Dave, Eddie he had, I think Eddie cared about what they were getting paid and what they needed to deliver. I mean, he's
more
that kind of
professional.
Yeah. And Dave didn't give a shit.
Right.
So,
except he fucked up the beginning of So This Is Love.
Who, Eddie or Dave?
Yeah, Eddie, when he clammed the beginning, when they were doing the beginning of the song, and he's picking through it, and he clammed it, and you could see him. He's like,
Oh, Eddie fucks up the beginning of Unchained. Like,
yeah,
he totally. I mean,
So let's not let he who is without sin.
Exactly.
Dude, but again,
if you get out on that stage and you realize there's 500,000 people looking at you, sure. I think you're gonna go like, oh, even if you're the most pro of pro bands in the world, that's got to be something.
It was the biggest show of their career, and they knew it, and they had enough time leading into it that, I think they had rehearsals for weeks before that. I mean, I know that the South American tour was kind of a rehearsal, but they did actual like full-on rehearsals for the US Festival and stuff.
I heard it differently. I heard they had absolutely no rehearsals, and Roth was down in the Amazon somewhere, and they had to get a hold of him on two-way radio.
Well, maybe I'm thinking maybe the South American stuff was the rehearsal.
No, they rehearsed.
There's a lot of Vince McMahon in that story.
No, they were definitely getting ready for that show. Like
they knew what it was. They knew the stakes. I think they knew the stakes. They pulled it off. Some may say they didn't, but they definitely pulled it off.
I don't know if anybody has ever been the last band on a bill during an outdoor show in the summertime and got there at 4:00 in the afternoon. I can tell you, I have a.
I worked hundreds of those shows.
Yeah, I have a bass player that took a full beer in the forehead from me because we started at 4:00 when we got after the sound check was over. You just start. And you don't realize you're outdoors and it's hot, and one goes down and they go down water, and they go down like water. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh boy, we got to go on stage. It's bad news. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it happens. It's happened. Not to anywhere near the level that those guys do, but I mean, you drink outside in the summertime for a couple hours and pick up your guitar and see how good you are.
Not even a couple hours, because it hits you quick.
And I'm not even talking about
sure.
I'm not even talking about binge drinking. I'm talking about just like regular. Like I am on my I don't know sixth or seventh bottle of water while we've been sitting here. Now just imagine those are beers, and I'm not pounding these down, but just imagine those are beers and you're drinking and you're outdoors, and then you pick your guitar up and your mind is willing, but your body is like, holy shit. I can't do this.
And there's the best cocaine you've ever had there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's that.
There's so much coming your way at that kind of event.
Well,
it's not even funny.
Wasn't that the story that when Ed got the check from what was it, the US Festival or something? That's what he turned right around and went out and went on a shopping spree or something.
Well, no, dude, it was backstage on the table.
Oh yeah, and that's the way the stories from the 80s. That's what it was always like that.
It was on the board. It was on the table. I mean, man, and that's not unique to Van Halen. I mean, there's a story in Motley Crue's The Dirt in their book where they were in Canada at a radio station and doing lines right there on the board while they were on the air doing the interview. That happened because I know the DJ that was interviewing them. He went on to be a record executive for a long time. That shit happened back then, and
I even in the 90s, I saw that, and they didn't hide it in the night. I mean,
dude, everybody who was backstage,
the crew especially
in the 80s, if they were somebody involved in the radio industry or the record industry, they were carrying at least a couple of grams of cocaine on them, and they were handing it to the celebrity, whoever that's like a calling card. It's like, here, man, my name is, and that's how they would say hello to everybody.
And in all honesty, it was an important part when you talk about, look at Noel Monk's book. It was an important part of the tour. They had to get that straight before they could go anywhere. They had to make sure that those connections were made, or else they knew the band wouldn't go on if those connections across the country weren't made.
Well, it was
obtaining that stuff.
It made a big comeback in the early 2000s because I was at radio and record conventions in Los Angeles.
Cocaine! Yeah, cocaine never went anywhere.
It made a huge comeback. I mean, we were for a couple of years, we'd go to these conventions and we'd be around these artists and we'd be in, showcases and all that stuff. And it would be dry and everything would be, and everybody would just be drinking. And then one year we went and everybody had these little gray envelopes folded up nice and neatly. And it was like, the funny thing is, remember, there used to be an aspirin that you could buy that was like already crushed up. What was the one? It was an aspirin that you took it out of like a little envelope and you opened it up. I forget the name of the aspirin, but it's an old aspirin.
Anacin.
No, but whatever it was already, and it was
Codeine?
already. No, it was literally an aspirin. I don't know the name of the aspirin, but it
I've
came
never seen that.
it came in these little envelopes, and you'd open it up, and that's exactly what we saw all over the place in the early 2000s in LA at all these radio conventions. It was ridiculous. BC, Vista Light says it. BC is the name of the aspirin.
Weird.
We need to play name that year for Ed, because you can almost tell by every picture.
You can tell by his hair. I know by his hair.
That other top one, was that 83 with the sunglasses? 83, 84, right?
82 or 83.
It's got to be 83.
And back then when they would put the sunglasses on so you didn't know they were gacked to the tits.
That's Diver Down.
Diver Down. There you go. But you're absolutely right. You can tell.
There's different kinds of rock bands in the world. There's those kind of bands that put a record out and then they rehearsed so that they sound like their record. And then there's those bands that didn't care about that, like Van Halen, like Led Zeppelin, and even The Who. Those are the kind of bands where they would record an album, but then a year or two or however much down the road, they're going to play that song live, but they're going to play it like how they feel it today. This is how I want to play Dazed and Confused now. Forget about the record we did 3-4 years ago. This is how we're feeling. And Van Halen would just cut loose, and they had all that musical freedom to just cut loose. And Dave took full advantage of the musical freedom that he was allowed to have, and but
the brothers did too. I mean, the big jams.
Everybody did, and you see Aerosmith do that too. Aerosmith does that too. They have that musical freedom live, and they'll do their own version of the song, and they don't really care too much if the audience is like, "Wow, it doesn't sound right." I used to listen to the live Led Zeppelin. What's the big double live album?
Song remains the same. It didn't sound like the record. They do even differently, and in a lot of ways, it was way better. In even bigger than that, I've got Zeppelin from 1969 on their very first tour. They open with a 9-minute version of Train Kept a Rollin', and then do an 18-minute version of I Fought My Way Out of Darkness and all these obscure blues songs. 18 minutes, 2 songs into their set, they're doing an 18-minute jam. Now, it's brilliant. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. It's jaw-dropping. But imagine a band coming out and doing that now on their first tour, just going out and just jamming and just throwing balls to the wall. Keep in mind, Zeppelin had one album out, and that album clocked in at about 35 minutes. So, of course, you're going to have to find some way to fill an hour and a half.
Right.
Just imagine if Motley Crue, that always tries to perform their songs exactly like the album. What if Motley Crue went out and did an 18-minute version of Girls, Girls, Girls and made up a bunch of stuff, threw a drum solo in the middle of it, all kinds of crazy guitar leads, and then tried to come back to the chorus? And imagine if they would pull something like that off.
I can't imagine it.
I know. How strange is that?
I think there's some bands where I don't want to say they can't jam, but I think it's not right.
I was just
know?
watching the documentary about the band.
It makes that kind of sense.
That's on Netflix or Amazon or something, and that's one thing that they said. Eric Clapton came up to their house up in upstate New York, and he's like, "Let's jam, let's hang out." And they're like, "We don't jam. We write songs. We don't jam." So yeah, it's definitely a couple different schools of
Right.
how you want to start a band or play with other people. What is that?
Yeah, the Motley Crue always seemed more like they were just made for what they did.
They rehearsed every second of every song is completely.
It just seems very strategic. There's nothing. Nothing's going to be.
And so when you're a band like Led Zeppelin or Van Halen that opens themselves up to, hey, let's just do a crazy version of whatever song this happens to be. There's going to be criticism. Some people are like, oh man, it's genius what they just did. They just did an 18-minute version of Girls, Girls, Girls. It was genius. And then all the other people are going to be like, oh my God.
Did that really happen?
Horrible.
I can't imagine that.
Oh, it's way too long. Girls, 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 girls.
Right. They went Vince
How many
destroyed
strip
every
clubs? How many
strip club in the world.
So I just looked it up in at the Fillmore West in
grandmas.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
At the
It
Fillmore
goes on
West.
so long. Okay, sorry, Paul.
That's all right. No, at the
At the
Fillmore West.
nursing home in Fort Lauderdale.
So at the Fillmore West in 1969, the second song in their set was "As Long as I Have You," 19 minutes and 25 seconds, followed by "How Many More Times," 19 minutes and 15 seconds.
Well, that was Zeppelin. That's what they were.
Followed by
all
Sitting and Thinking, which was 7.5 minutes long.
Never heard of that one.
No, of course you haven't. But
Sitting and Thinking. That's just them on stage tuning up.
Stockholm, Sweden, their version of Dazed and Confused went 11 minutes long. How Many More Times? Well, it's an incomplete version of the song. But like just at the Texas International Pop Festival, their entire set, this one song is 23 minutes.
Well, they were one of them and like the Grateful Dead were one of the first, big bands that would go out and sell out a stadium and actually do 15-minute songs, and then it became the norm throughout the 70s.
But imagine
in the chat, Connor
imagine it's
Johnson.
1969 and that's happening.
Yeah,
that was
That's what I mean. They were some of the really early ones.
What
was that?
Connor Johnson's bringing up in the right here right now. That was you really got me that they went into Cabo Wabo in the middle.
Yeah, one of the best parts of right here right now.
Yeah. But they also did the same thing at the Oz Festival when they went into "I'm So Glad" and a little bit of.
But they did that every night.
Yeah.
That live Sammy Hagar album where they did "You Really Got Me Into Cabo."
They didn't do that every night.
Magical moment in that whole double album was when.
And it's notorious that most of that record was re-recorded. So, in the Sammy book,
but I mean, you can look that. I think Dane's right. I don't think they did that into Cabo.
Caleb? Did you know that there's an actual bootleg from that where you can actually hear the actual show?
Oh wow!
You ever hear that?
I'd love to compare. That'd be awesome.
It's in the Discord. We have it in the Discord. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And actually,
well, that show was broadcast on Westwood One.
Right. Well, they did like two different nights.
There was a lot of different. Yeah.
There was one night that was broadcast where it's like slightly different versions of the stuff, but at that this is the only thing I'm going to give away of it, which is kind of cool. Was it that show? Yeah, maybe. When they started into Pound Cake.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that actual show? I think.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The string break or
Eddie's guitar goes out in the very beginning of the song.
Oh wow!
So there's no guitar. You hear it going, and then he breaks a string. Yeah.
Brutal.
So
I
yeah,
think it was that show, but it's in the Discord, man. And actually,
remember
the video. Somebody actually lined up that actual home video with the actual audio, right, John?
Yeah, it's I want to say it's the Fresno media people, the Fresno same
Somebody.
people that did the
Somebody did that,
78
but
and 79 films.
It's in the Discord underneath the Van Halen live video audio section.
Yeah, the US Festival and all the jams in the US Festival were basically done throughout the Diver Down tour.
People don't realize that was planned spontaneity. That most of what Van Halen did was as legitimate as Vince McMahon's professional wrestling.
Oh my God! Well, just the fact that Dave would say in every city they ever played, "Hey, you guys are number one. Like you guys kicked last night's show's ass." Well,
like
he said that the night before. So that's just the way they were. They made you feel like.
Does anybody really believe that Dave forgot the fucking words?
No, he's letting everyone know.
He did the same. I mean, look at the Largo show.
Maybe he did forget them, but he forgot them so many times he would just say that. That's the only thing he remember.
Yeah, he probably forgot it one night, and when he said it,
got a quick pop,
crazy.
Yeah,
he got the reaction.
Nuts, so that he used it every night.
Yeah,
that's like when it was when Stone Temple Pilots were on their comeback tour, they started doing some radio festivals, and every night, for whatever reason, about halfway through the set, some guy was acting like an asshole up the front, and security, I want you to throw this asshole out of my show. Woo! And then backstage, that asshole was plugging an amp in or whatever. I mean,
it's a plant. It's a plant.
It's Tony Clifton.
No, it's very rare that things are because those are all markers for the tech guys. The tech guys need to know when things are going to happen. So and Dave,
when the little guy comes out with the Jack Daniels, all that,
and David Lee Roth,
the midget.
Might be notorious for being wasted during shows. The truth was he wasn't, and the fact that he would say that this isn't iced tea, guess what? It was iced tea, and it's because he was a complete Nazi when it came to the production of the show. And there's stories of him just tearing all the tech guys new asshole. Like he would go straight to a room and call a tech meeting and rip every single guy on the crew a new asshole because he didn't like the way the monitor or he didn't like the way the air was blowing on stage.
Are these recent or this was back in the day?
This is forever.
Oh wow.
Forever.
I haven't. Yeah.
The whole
I know
run.
Recently he was like that
for the whole run. That's why the guys felt alienated from him because the show was all his. The whole show was his idea. Everything that happened in the show was according to his plan.
Every beat, yeah.
He ran it like it was, and he was in complete charge of it all. So,
I always tell everybody when it comes to what we do on the radio, it's an incredible amount of hard work and discipline to sound as sloppy and unfocused as we do. That's what it was.
Well, it's the same thing, yeah.
Every one of those moves it's a rarity that you see a band get up there and just really be embarrassing. If you don't think that Van Halen knew on the biggest stage of their career, on the biggest show of their career, that being as sloppy and fucked up, we're talking about it 30 years later. Are we talking about any other band set at the US Festival 30 years later, 35 years later?
Mm-hmm. No,
because they knew what they were doing. And don't get me wrong, was Dave fucked up? He certainly was. But who cares? At that point, being fucked up was not an albatross. It wasn't a negative. It's going to make them bigger. It makes the legend bigger.
Well, I think that was an unintended, consequence. I do believe that everybody involved with Van Halen was disappointed with Dave that night.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You could see it in the book, like they were like, what are you doing? Because usually
it was definitely out of the norm.
He was the guy yelling at everybody else. And then he came on and did what he did that night, which was be as sloppy as he could have been. I think he only did 1 or 2 jumps off the riser that night because he was so wasted. Like there was a lot of, not Dave-like stuff going on during that set. And obviously the band and the crew were disappointed because it's their biggest show of their lives. and that's what Dave brought to the table that night. So
he had already made the decision to check out.
Yeah.
He had already made the decision to check out. It's great if you go back to there's the interview that he did on Letterman when 1984 came out, and he said he was going to be a little weenie for one more year. He actually teased the fact that he was leaving the band. You could
he danced around it,
yeah. But and then when they went to commercial, he looked at the crowd. He looked right at the camera and went
right
and copped to it. He copped that he was leaving the band. He had already tapped out before 1984 was recorded.
And what's ironic,
I think that was 85, wasn't it?
What's ironic,
early 85 when that interview was.
It's every
July,
night of that tour, every night of the 84 tour, when they finished, he said, "We'll see you next year." Like he said it, and that's the only time he would ever say anything like that, was that tour. "We'll see you next year." Nope, we won't see you next year.
And so when Sammy joined the band, all that pressure, the band was like, look, man, all the pressure of what's Dave going to do tonight, that's all gone. All we have to do now is go into rehearsal, write these great pop songs. Sammy's going to sing them just like they're supposed to be. All this wondering, it takes so much pressure off the band.
Mm-hmm.
Not having to do any of that improvising.
You can tell on the 86 era how relaxed they were. And
how about Sammy's not telling Eddie what to do, and the whole time Eddie's playing with Dave,
nobody's telling him what to do.
Dave's telling Eddie what to do. That's the dynamic that changed. You could see the pressure release. If you watch the Unleashed video, like you just see that they're all just like, oh my God, we can just do whatever we want now. Mm-hmm. We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about
no governor.
We don't have to worry about the tyrant.
With all respect to their output with Sammy, and this gets us into the argument back and forth ad nauseum, but they lost that special element that made them legendary. They just were excellent. They were a great band. They were an excellent band, but they lost that thing, that element that we've talked about, the extra oomph. They quote matured. The problem with maturing is they were no longer dangerous.
That leads to the question. Leads to the question: what would have happened if Dave stayed in the band? They wouldn't have been as successful.
No, I don't know if they wouldn't have been as successful. I don't think they would have stayed together. I think the band would have split apart. I think they were done, but they lost that element that made them legendary. I've said to people, and I think I've even said it on the show, Van Halen with Gary, good band. Van Halen with Sammy, great band. Van Halen with Dave, legendary band.
The best band.
A legendary band, and that's the difference. That doesn't take away. Van Halen with Sammy destroys 99.99% of their peers. Van Halen with Dave is mentioned amongst the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin.
It's true.
That's the difference. And
that's because of all the ground they broke. They broke so much ground with that band. Sammy walked into one of the biggest bands in the world.
Wrote amazing music.
Yeah,
it was amazing music, but it wasn't the same. It
didn't have that danger. You're right.
Rehearsed. Yeah, you knew what to expect.
They were going to be you were going to get a great show from Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, but it was going to be restrained and it was going to be excellent from start to finish.
I wouldn't call it restrained. I mean, it
was absolutely
restrained. But I know,
but
it was different than Dave. Yeah.
There was never that element watching Sammy with Van Halen. There was never that element of, oh my God, what's going to happen next?
I guess you're right. Yeah.
It was, holy shit, these guys are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But there was never that element of, I can't leave my seat because I don't know what's going to happen next.
That kind of goes back to the WWE kind of thing, like the Vince McMahon thing. Yeah, I mean,
right.
That's the only reason people would watch, the wrestling. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? Who's going to kick the crap out of somebody else?
That was the magic of what they did, and that's not to take away. Look, if David Lee Roth had never been in Van Halen and it would have been Sammy Hagar from the get-go, they still would have been an incredible Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band.
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't be the same.
No, Dave brought the show. Like Dave brought the show aspect
That's
You
kind of
know,
like
and-
the Who in the '70s, you know, with
and-
the, you know, Keith Moon and Pete Townsend. You didn't know what you were going to get.
It's a great example of I think Van Halen were more like the Who than they ever were like Led Zeppelin. The Who was combustible. The Who was
Yeah.
one of the few bands that was actually better live than they were on record, and they were
They'd
fucking
fight on
amazing on
stage.
record. Yeah, the Who was amazing live, and
Mhm.
they were great on record. They were even better live because you didn't know what was going to happen, and the elements are very similar with regard to the musicianship. Roger Daltrey, not the greatest singer in the world, phenomenal energy, phenomenal frontman, not a great singer, great screamer.
Mhm.
Pete Townsend, fantastic.
He still sounds good at 70, whatever. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that. I mean, more than a lot of the guys.
Pete Townsend,
But yeah, I know where you're
fantastic
going, sure.
songwriter, fantastic producer, fantastic arranger. Not the greatest soloist in the world, but he had Entwistle, and
Yep.
Entwistle could fill every hole.
And he had Moon, dude. Oh my god.
Elegantly. Yes,
What
that
did
rhythm
Moon-
section. That
Yeah.
rhythm
Who
section
played like
was
that? Who
ridiculous.
played like that?
With
Their drummer
Keith.
was explosive, man.
Explosive
Yeah.
to say the least.
Literally.
And
And they
Connor Johnson, thank you so much, man. Thank you for joining.
Welcome.
And welcome. Connor Johnson is now a executive producer.
Nice.
Oh, great.
Um,
This sounds like something you can buy your way into.
yeah, it is. But that pays for this, so it's all.
Oh no,
good.
I know. I'm just giving you shit.
And yes, the Discord. You got the Discord right there. All kinds of cool stuff in there. I encourage everybody to join the Discord. John BL will tell you.
Yeah.
There's amazing things in there that.
You could spend hours just exploring. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to pose a question to the crowd. Where the hell is Jay Hannon?
I know where he is.
Oh,
Family time.
I don't know.
You just
No, he's
said-
at home.
he said he was coming in, and he left us all hanging.
I don't know.
Jay Dry Hump Hannon.
Johnny, I just sent you a picture in the Facebook Messenger. This picture to me is the picture of the greatest, most dangerous, awesome band in the world at the peak of their awesomeness.
Can we guess? Before Johnny puts it up, let's see if we can guess what exactly you're referring to. Era. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about the Dave era.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're saying the band at the peak in the Dave era would have been, in my, I don't know, 81, 82.
Fair warning.
So I'm just
I'm trying to
wondering
open
if
it.
Caleb's
I'm trying-
thinking the same, along the same lines.
No,
Any other input?
You look at the four members of this band and the
Wait.
demeanor of their attitude in the
Is it
picture.
this picture?
The only band that I would ever put against Van Halen at its most dangerous, at the zenith of the explosive nature of the band was Guns N' Roses in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep, they had the same magic about them.
It was
Caleb.
It's not that picture
No.
because that's not business. They're having a good time. This picture is all business. Like you can feel what they're about to do in this
Guns
picture.
N' Roses was
Is
like
it his
that, too.
Lozauer picture?
It's this picture.
That's the war face. That's like they're going into battle.
It's game time.
It is.
Yep. 81.
It's game time. Look at that. Look at Dave.
Focused.
And Dave definitely looks like the general, and then he's got his troops behind him.
It
Yeah.
could be. Is that Oakland? It could be. I
No.
don't know.
Who knows where it is? But it's.
Oh, we could figure that out.
You can
Actually,
tell.
that could be Oakland because look at what they're all wearing. They're
That's what
wearing
I'm
the
saying.
same stuff
Diver down era.
as then.
Yeah, but they played 80 shows on
Fair,
that
fair
tour.
warning.
You know.
Yeah. Although I don't see Eddie's socks. I don't see the socks up. Was he wearing the socks in the Oakland one?
This may have been later in the.
I don't know.
he did have the socks, and I think
Because
that's
Mike
how he
and
started
Dave
the
are
show.
definitely wearing the same outfits, and Eddie's
Well,
wearing the same
Dave
shirt.
wore the same outfit every night, except he flipped the pants. I don't know if he did it twice or if he did it during the show or what, but he had two sets of pants for the whole tour, and
Was there
they
any
were just negative
credit?
images.
Credit for that picture? Is there any link to that picture?
No, not really.
But anywho,
Doesn't say.
that to me is the That might be the same night right there. That might be the same night.
Yeah, wearing the same thing. Ed's holding like a Tommy gun, and Dave's shooting Mike's leg like a gun.
But the last
And
two bands I saw that were that dangerous were Guns N' Roses and Rage Against the Machine. Rage Against the Machine, when they first came out, were serious. They were taking it seriously. And it was explosive. And just like the energy in the building was like the building was breathing. And you don't get that from a lot of bands now. You don't get that, you got that from Van Halen. You knew something amazing was about to happen. And you got that from Guns N' Roses. And you got that from Metallica on the Justice tour as well. But I don't know of a band out there right now that does that can do that can give you a new band. I mean, you go to a Rolling Stones show. I saw the Rolling Stones on this last tour. Phenomenal. Ridiculously good. And didn't expect him to be good.
No, Van Halen never played Saturday Night Live, by the way. There's a question.
But Eddie did. Eddie did sit in with the Saturday Night Live band.
Yes.
In 95?
87.
I think they but I think they also played, they did play Saturday Night Live.
No.
They played Letterman.
They played Letterman.
Letterman, yeah.
They played Letterman, and they played Jon Stewart in 95.
Jon Stewart and Letterman, yeah.
All right.
They played Jon Stewart twice. Right? Or they were on there twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were on twice, and then Stewart obviously kicked off the tour in Pensacola.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy that started the whole tour off.
Jon Stewart, was that like Comedy Central in 95, or was it Jon Stewart show? I don't remember. I'm sorry, I watched it at the time.
It was the Jon Stewart show.
MTV. On MTV.
Oh, on MTV. So it was before Comedy Central then, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the MTV thing was their what was it? Was it Live at the 10 spot or
Spring Break in Pensacola was the
Spring?
Oh, the Pensacola. That's right.
Yeah.
The opening night, and then
Toronto
and pay-per-view.
Live at the 10 spot was in Sydney, Australia. I have actually a production copy of that on VHS from MTV that they sent.
Was that the Gary show, or
Yeah.
I don't think I even watched that one. Sorry to say.
Now, what would you say? What would you say Van Halen is better at? Were they a better live band or a studio band?
All the above.
I'm going to say the records hold up more than the shows, because a lot of those shows are so cocaine infused you wouldn't even recognize the song based on the tempo. So I believe the albums are what they are. The shows, not so much. I think a lot of the stuff we see as far as what's been produced has been redone. Like all the stuff that was released for the US Festival of those 3 songs they put out on the Showtime special, I believe, were totally doctored after the fact. The vocals especially.
Yep.
And
shitloads of reverb put on it.
Yeah. So I really think the records are stand alone. I mean, I don't think, and plus it was so fucking loud. I remember 1984, I couldn't even hear what was going on with my, 13, 14-year-old ears. It was so much volume that you couldn't even tell what song it was, half the time, because it was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous volume.
Wow.
I think even all of their recorded music, with the exception of 3, because the production was just, the guitar sound was miserable. But I think all of their studio records are phenomenal sound.
There's not a bad one out there.
I wish they would remix OU812, and just get that thing.
And I wish they would do 5150 with real toms. I always wanted.
Again, I like that.
But that's a snapshot of its time, though.
I know, but I'd love to just.
It'd be cool to hear that, though. Yeah.
Maybe they re-release the record like they did with Kiss Destroyer, where they do a different mix of the record, not necessarily re-record it, but a different mix of the record, but not remove the one like Sharon Osbourne did with the Ozzy records when they replaced the rhythm tracks. You know what I mean? If you put out a 5150 part 2 and give us a different version or a different.
Well, we've always got the original version to listen to.
Right.
So you guys are basically saying that the albums were what was best about Van Halen, but they basically recorded those albums live. where all they did was put 57s all around the room.
Well, the earliest albums, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
1 and 2 at least.
Well, most of their stuff, they would play 3 instruments at one point, going live together.
Get the
But
master
that's after several rehearsals and takes. And,
right, yeah.
When you own a studio, you can do days and weeks of.
Yeah,
of
you don't know how many
passes.
takes it is. I mean, is the take that they kept take 24?
Yeah.
It's not like they went in and say, it's not like, one of the guys that does do that is Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick. He goes in and does one run through of the album. That's it. First take, every drum set, every drum take is, he goes in and says, what song are we doing?
That's why he's the first one to get kicked out of the band.
Well, he's still a member of the corporation though, so he's still getting paid. He still gets his piece.
That's all that counts.
It's funny though. There's an interview that Dave and Eddie did an interview with Steve Rosen. It's on iTunes if you can find it. From the pre-Women and Children First interviews, and he asked Rosen asked Dave about like how much time they had rehearsing or something, and Dave said, well, we kind of just wait till it's too late and then we see what happens. And we do that because we're Van Halen, but we also do that because it's the pressure of the moment that creates the magic. And so a lot of those early records were recorded like that. They went in for a few days and recorded the whole record, and it's because they didn't have a lot of time to do it.
Time and money. I mean,
and plus they were lazy. They were lazy when it came to stuff. So, but the reverse was that they didn't know what they were going to do. They didn't know what it was going to sound like, and that stress of the moment created the magic that you hear on those records. And that's something Dave conveys in those interviews. So it's interesting.
And as soon as Sammy joined the band, all that stress was gone.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the, Eddie always talks about accidents, and mistakes that turn into something really good. Like a lot of his greatest licks or stuff were because he messed up the original plan of that lick, and it turned into that. And that's why a lot of them he can't duplicate, because they were mistakes and he doesn't know how he did it. Like there's the solo in Cradle Will Rock. It's even in that interview. He's trying to play that build up lick, and he can't do it in the interview. He's got a guitar and he's trying to play it, and he's like, God, I can't. He's going, I can't do it. I don't know how I did it. It's because he messed it up in the recording, and it just turned out perfectly. So,
and that's why they have tape rolling at all times.
Happy accidents, yeah.
And in Where Have All the Good Times Gone, at the end, the da-na-da-na-da-da-na, squeak. You hear that funny little squeak in there, and it just sounds,
it would sound it wouldn't sound right without it now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of that stuff that, and I'll give credit where I think credit is due. Andy Johns was there engineering a lot of their stuff, and
he did the one record.
But he did the concept of it. He did all the Zeppelin records.
Yeah,
and
he did the live one too, I think.
And
yeah.
Go ahead. The great thing about Andy Johns was he left a lot of the Zeppelin glitches in, and those guys weren't stupid. They knew, hey, if there's a screw up, leave it in. It gives the record that feeling, that flavor, which is why I love that bass. That when that bass level comes down, and So This Is Love, because they're like, oh, bass is overmodulating. Let's just leave it in and bounce it down. Andy Johns and Templeman and those guys that have been in the studios with the Led Zeppelins and the Foreigners and these bands that were more prone to doing stuff live and capturing these magical moments.
Right. And
that's what you do.
And I can't wait to read the Templeman book. I'm sure there's probably a good story on that, on how that was Templeman's gift, was that he could convince the guys that, no, that's a great take, and I'll tell you why.
Right.
Because it has that problem in it. Or
Interesting.
what you consider a problem. Yeah.
Mr. Hellstorm says Eddie comes across as being jealous of Sammy's success after leaving the band. I got to disagree. Sammy hasn't had a lot of success after leaving the band. In fact, he's had diminishing returns since leaving Van Halen. Sammy Hagar, prior to joining Van Halen, was a career mid-carder, a career hockey arena guy. He was never the headlining monster that he would like you to believe he is. And when he left Van Halen, he went right back to that place. Sammy Hagar has nowhere near as big as his legend, other than outside of Van Halen. He wasn't. He was Billy Squire.
Yeah, but he's probably made more money than most of the other guys.
Oh, no.
Side projects as well.
Yeah, but musically,
best businessman.
He's been a fantastic businessman, but he hasn't had anywhere near the success that you would like to think he's had.
No, he'd come to town. He would be out at the casino, or he'd be down at the Marquee Theater that seats 3,000 people or something.
His first record, Marching to Mars, was great because it was an interest record, and then everything since then has been worse and worse.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think we'll ever know why Eddie and Sammy, didn't work out in '96 or '95. It obviously was the end of 10 years, and
I think they were being stretched pretty thin too, though. I mean, they were doing movie soundtracks, and they didn't agree on which directions to go, and
I'm
some
sure.
of that,
I'm sure.
Touring days as well.
I'm sure it had something to do with the fact that Sammy is the loosest guy in the room, and he can manage just getting by. He has no problem using this, doing that. And
I think they got brand new management that year.
Yeah, and Eddie has had problems with substance his whole life, and
wasn't it Sammy's brother-in-law's, or for a little while, or didn't one of Sammy's?
It was Alex's.
All right.
Alex's brother-in-law came in to manage the band, and he also managed Extreme, and that's how they
Ray Daniels
convinced to get Sharon in over Mitch Malloy, who was in for a week, and that would have been interesting because if you hear some of those demos, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Mr.
Hellstorm, you're incorrect. That's just a flat-out false statement. Sammy Hagar has not had better returns than Van Halen since leaving Van Halen. That's just absolutely false. It's absolutely false.
In fact, Sammy's been the one who's wanted to get back in Van Halen more than anybody, more than Dave ever wanted to get back. So
Sammy Hagar can't let an interview go by where he doesn't reference Van Halen. Sammy Hagar and the Circle are playing on a 3-band bill at a small theater. We're supposed to play at a 3-band bill in a small theater that holds about 4,400 people here in town. Van Halen played the theater. You need to know. Sammy Hagar and Chicken couldn't sell out anywhere. They were a club band. They were a theater band. They were never an arena band. It's just, you're absolutely wrong. Don't get me wrong. Sammy has done some cool stuff since leaving Van Halen, but he has not been in the same category with that band.
No,
he wasn't before.
And Dave
wasn't
too.
before, and he hasn't
Dave
been
too.
since. And Dave too.
And that's
Dave
why
had that first.
That's why it's called
He had
Van
the first
Halen
2 tours.
and not Hagar or Roth. It's called Van Halen.
Give credit. The first 2 tours though, Roth did go head to head with him for those first 2 tours. When he lost Steve Vai, it was over.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love the Jason Becker record, but let's face it, Jason Becker got a shit hand dealt to him. But when he lost Steve Vai, when David Lee Roth lost Steve Vai as his muse, as his other 50%, David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen need each other, just like Mick and Keith, just like Steven and Joe. They have to be together, just like Jimmy and Robert.
I don't know if I'd put those guys in the same, like those, making Keith and
why not
Steven and Joe.
What do you mean those guys?
No, I don't think Ed and Dave were like Mick and Keith. And there were times when they were like that, but
John and Paul.
Yeah, I don't
They
know. What do you?
hate
I
each
mean,
other.
Ringo and George.
the tension was a big part of their relationship. But
yeah.
Beane and Nesdal.
Right?
That's a good one. Yeah.
No, it creates the friction, creates the juice.
Pete and Roger.
And maybe that's why Van Hagar didn't continue. It was because there wasn't a lot of friction. been that we know of, and it just got stale.
Yeah.
It got stale because it seems like Sammy would be like, yeah, let's do that. Whatever you want to do, I'll do it. And Dave said, no, you should do this. You shouldn't do that. And, Eddie didn't like that. And the irony was, Dave never wanted to do a keyboard song, and Eddie gave him, Dave his only number one hit, and gave himself their only number one hit. But
yeah, but I think that's bullshit, because the Crazy from the Heat record is all keyboards.
Well, no, he turned around and went, wait, like after the success of Jump, Roth changed his tune.
Right. But
but prior to that, he was like, we're not doing the fucking keyboard song.
There's keyboards on in The Cradle Will Rock.
Well, no one knows it's a keyboard.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Not really.
So, it's.
I know. I'm with you on it. I know what you're saying.
One of the reasons Vi left, too many keyboards, too many ghostwriters.
Yeah.
Dave was working with all these ghostwriters that were bringing him songs, and he, you just think about, Just Like Paradise, and when Steve Vai had to go, like, wait a minute, you want me to play over that? You can almost see that moment as like, okay, I'm out of here. Because sonically it's a good song.
It's all keyboard.
But it's nothing. Mm-hmm. It's nothing like that.
Can you imagine if Steve Vai had laid down the riff to the song "Slip of the Tongue" from the Whitesnake record that he's on for David Lee Roth? If you want to go and listen to something when this is all said and done, the album "Slip of the Tongue" from Whitesnake. Listen to that song. That's Steve Vai. Steve Vai wrote that song, wrote that riff, wrote all that stuff. Go back and listen to that opening track. Can you imagine if that riff had been on a David Lee Roth record? I mean, that was what happened. Dave pissed Vi off. Vi left and went, okay, I'm going to go do this, and put down amazing music on that Slip of the Tongue record. It was held back by the fact that Coverdale's lyrics are ridiculously juvenile. Even more so than David Lee Roth. They're just stupid, syrupy lyrics. The record itself rocks. The lyrics are goofy as fuck.
I love that record.
Yeah.
It's a great record.
Imagine if that was Roth instead of Coverdale.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That would have been.
Football Legends, we know there were keyboards on Cradle Will Rock. And if you knew about the live version of that, guess who's playing the keyboards on that song? It's Michael Anthony. Because Dave said, you're not playing fucking keyboards on this stage. You're a guitar hero. You're not playing keyboards.
You're a guitar hero.
So that's what Eddie was dealing with. He wasn't allowed to get behind a keyboard until 1984. And it was because Dave was running the show. Okay, that's why.
And in '84, when Eddie played keyboards, they were both playing keyboards.
Mike, they both played for our weight.
Well, because there's two parts to Jump. And there are two keyboard parts.
Keyboards on Jump, I know we did
for our weight. Both, yeah.
Thrash Metal and Fun Riff says no keyboards in metal. John Lord, suck it.
John Lord.
Yeah. John Lord is the greatest keyboard player in the history of metal.
What about
You can't get back. You can't get into Deep Purple with John Lord. John Lord's keyboards make that band.
I was just watching
thinks
Perfect Strangers the other day.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Leslie, and we're not talking Leslie West. It's
that John Lord made that keyboards cool in metal. Don Airey's a fantastic keyboard player in metal.
Who's your number 2 metal keyboard player? Who's on
Don Airey?
Yeah,
Don Airey
from Ozzy.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
What's the guy's name in Europe? He's my favorite.
I was like Ken Hensley from Uriah Heep. I know that was the 1970s and it was more like acid rock, but I always thought Ken Hensley was awesome.
All the Hammond organ players, like the John Lords and those guys who kind of, because in the 60s you always had to have a keyboard, an organ player or a piano player, and that's where kind of Deep Purple came out of. But then, throughout the 70s, it was all experimental with the synthesizer stuff, like from
John
Rick
Paul
Wakeman,
Jones was pretty badass on keyboards.
John Paul Jones, Emerson, Keith Emerson.
Yeah. Yeah. John Entwistle could play them too.
He played
Geddy
the bass like a keyboard, played it like that.
No, I mean, just and I get what you're saying. Europe keyboards, no thank you. Bon Jovi keyboards, no thank you. Deep Purple keyboards all day.
Oh yeah.
All
Well,
day.
here's where it got weird for me, and I knew Dave was jumping the shark of the Skyscraper record, a song like Hina, right? Which is this amazing Steve Vai stereo guitar in your head. Listen to that song with headphones. It's bouncing all over, and his entire guitar part is based on the delay trigger that he's using from side to side. But when that fucking keyboard comes in, you're like, no. And it's
and that's what a lot of keyboards did back in the day. Yeah,
way louder than
just
his
overpowered
guitar.
it. Yeah.
Terrible. That ding ding ding.
Yeah.
Well, listen to Ronnie James Dio. Listen to some of the Dio albums. I mean, I love Dio and his vocals and everything, but the keyboards and that stuff is
the issue I have with Skyscraper is the keyboard sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very, very 1987, 88. You can't get away. Like, you listen to that and it's like, it takes you back.
But you can say that about Ed's keyboards and No.
Ed's keyboards are that's timeless. Those sounds work today.
I love it.
The keyboard sounds from Skyscraper are extremely dated.
I do like the
but
piano and Hot Dog and a Shake though. I think that's well placed.
Well, and
a piano or an organ is
Two
great.
Fools of the Minute is a great song too. That's a great tune. Love that song. But that album left a little bit to be desired. And
but Damn Good might be his Stairway to Heaven.
Right?
Yeah. What a fucking song. What a song.
It's amazing.
Did Steve write that? Steve must have written that. The music for it. And again, the lyrics are awesome on that too.
That's the deepest Dave ever got.
Yeah, one of the great Dave songs.
Great song. That and some stuff off the DLR band record is pretty good too. The stuff that John Lowry wrote is really good.
I'd love to, if I could ask Dave anything, it would be about that song and what he's really talking about. I mean, you could assume that it's him and Eddie's relationship.
That's the first thing you picture, absolutely.
But,
sure,
maybe it's not, maybe it is, but you could see that it's like 3-4 years on from the breakup, and like that's usually the time
nostalgic song.
Yeah, they kind of accept what's going on. So very interesting. Jay, get in here, dude. Are we almost done? Yeah, right.
It's almost 3 a.m. here. So
I used to make that same comparison with Dave Grohl. Now you got probably Dave Grohl being probably the most badass punk rock / grunge drummer of the 1990s, right? And so what's he do? He starts playing guitar and starts being the front man of the Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of, hey, well, what's he doing, And it was kind of, I felt the same way about when Eddie started playing keyboards. It made me think, now when I see Dave Grohl, I'm like, that guy was a badass drummer.
But Dane, his best friend killed himself, and he probably questioned going on period in his life and what he was going to do. I think he wanted to switch things up because he realized that was the only way he could kind of reinvent. He couldn't see himself playing drums in another band.
Yeah.
And going on. So he had to kind of flip the script and make it different. So I can see why he did that. But yeah, he's incredible and always was and still is. And whenever, him and Taylor switch, you can see it,
Right.
But I totally understand why he wanted to kind of leave that in the rear view and go somewhere else.
To accept it first and get used to it. But now it seems like it's normal.
Well, there's a lot of people growing up, right? All they know is the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
They don't know Nirvana. They don't know what Dave Grohl did in that band, So.
Right.
Anybody else do that? Switch instruments and create a new band after? Done the Dave Grohl thing. I'm sure some people have. I'm just trying
Well, like Phil Collins came out front, but he didn't play anything really. But he did
Right.
come out front.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he basically went from a drummer to a singer.
Mm-hmm.
And a
But
lot
yeah,
of like
yeah.
like Don Henley went out when he went solo. I don't think he played drums very much. That kind of. Paul McCartney played a lot of guitar when he went solo.
Paul McCartney can play anything though. So
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean,
Steven Tyler was a drummer and then came out front.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, Steven Tyler was a drummer in a band called Chain
he
Reaction
can play keyboards too.
and played keyboards, and he wrote some of the drum tracks for Aerosmith. It's part of the reason why he and Joey Kramer don't get along very well, because Steven Tyler believes he's a better drummer than Joey Kramer.
Is that what that whole thing was about when they tried
It's
to
part
kick
of
him
it.
out? Yeah.
It's part of it, yeah.
Dude, it's whatever it is. I mean,
I would love to see him actually do a drum solo. Just put,
Yeah, prove it. Let's see it,
it's
Steve.
a job, you know. It's a job.
He did a couple solo albums.
It's a job, and wherever you go to work, there's always someone you don't like. You know, it's just usually, it's very rare that you have a job where you're like, you get along with everybody every day, all the time. And being in a rock band is a job. You know, it really is. It can be the most fun you ever had, but it can suck when you're not getting along with somebody. And it would suck enough to make you question whether you need to do it anymore. But I don't think there's one person who's ever left a band, especially to have that band go on without them, where it wasn't the biggest regret of their life. And I know that for a fact with a good friend of mine. So it's you know, it's hard. It's just people are hard to be around, you know, especially fucked up people, and musicians and artists and everyone has issues. That's why they're doing it. You know, that's why they're doing this kind of job. So
that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, we're all messed up.
Man.
Yeah.
On that note,
is that it?
I don't know.
It could be 11:59.
Does seem like you were able to fill it.
It's about that time.
John Bale, you're the only late one tonight.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys can continue. I'm burning out right now, man.
I could go to
It's all
bed.
good.
I could play a video game. I could do something. Okay. Well, hey. Well, John, this is your show, but
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for chatting, and good times. It feels like I was thinking about it today, and it just feels like this is the real Groundhog Day movie. Like every day is just the same. You wake up and you bum around for a few hours. You put on a movie, and it's just like you get some lunch. I don't know. It's just the same day every day.
Tomorrow's day 40, I believe.
Oh my god!
I've been
40
watching.
days and 40 nights.
I've been watching I've been watching Community. On,
I remember that show. That's a good show to get
yeah,
back.
Chevy Chase. I'm about halfway through season 2.
That was a funny show. I do like that show.
Day 40 for California. I don't know when your state went into lockdown.
Probably about that. Yeah, maybe
Day 40 here.
We're still not really in lockdown. It's such a half-assed lockdown because Arizona's so spread apart anyway.
Yeah.
That they don't.
No, it's hard to spit on anybody. So yeah.
It's too hot.
Oh.
Well, that's that's the common
That's what
common
you do for
theory
relief.
is,
Spit on someone.
common theory is when it gets up over 100 for a couple of weeks, this thing is going to burn out until the fall.
Yeah, Fender grew. We don't know when lockdown ends. I mean, they right officially it's supposed to end on the 15th.
Well, I guess they opened some beaches in
But
California.
something tells me they're going to at least go to June 1st. I just have a feeling. So
I think by the 4th of July, shit's going to be sort of back to normal, and hopefully it'll sort of be a distant memory.
no, that won't be normal. People are wearing masks for the next couple of years, buddy. So it's just the way it's going to be. It's just the way it's going to be. No one wants to catch it. It's going to
It's going to take some time to get back to
It's
it.
gonna
Not
come
until
back
there's
in
a
the fall.
vaccine.
Yeah, it's going to come back in the fall.
Dane's right. I mean, I think restrictions will lift at that point, but you know, there will. It's going to be hard to
I've got
adjust.
mine.
Hard for people to adjust.
Restaurants will have half the tables and
We have to wear masks now. When we go outside here, we have to wear them now.
Yeah, all the stores here, yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
says.
we can't. You can't
Please
go
wear
in
masks.
anywhere without a mask here.
Yeah.
But
Let me ask you guys this. When I went out to NAMM, I came home with the flu. What do you guys think the chances are that I actually got that when I was in Anaheim on January 19th?
well,
Did you have fever and all that?
I don't think I had a fever, but
That
man,
happens every year, though.
really good
So-
freaking cold.
That happens
but
every
I
year.
don't think it's the same thing.
Wait, Dane, tell him your theory. Tell him why you think you got it.
Well,
Did you hug Mancuda?
what are you setting me up for?
I'm not setting you up for anything. Dane bought a lot of equipment and a lot of like picks and things from the downstairs basement area.
The China area.
Everything
Like Chinatown.
came from China.
Yeah.
That's
And
what he.
there was
That's
probably, I mean, the 100,000 people that went to NAMM, I mean, I don't know, 10,000 of them were from China, right?
Well, it was probably there. I mean, there was probably people infected there, but who knows who?
Yeah. When I came back, I stayed an extra day, and I stayed over at Mancuda's house. And then that next day, him and I went walking, up and down the street in Hollywood. And the video's on the channel here. You
I
guys
saw
can
that
see
video.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a great time. But as that day progressed, I got sicker and sicker and sicker.
Yeah,
and I told him, I'm like, I have to go home because I had to drive home.
Mhm.
I'm like, I got to hit the road because I'm not feeling good.
So that
And-
definitely couldn't have been Corona because it's 12 days. I mean, if you would have caught it and got it. When you got home.
No. Well,
Within 12 days. It's
maybe,
Oh,
but
you can react to it right away.
for that entire month, I had chest problems. The entire month, I didn't feel right. Something was definitely wrong.
Mhm.
So I like to think maybe I had it.
maybe.
I like to think so.
I was bedridden for like 3 days in the end of December, and I rarely get a cold. I might get a cold once a year. I never get sick, and I was slammed for like 72 hours, and it was bad. But I don't know. Did I? I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answer. Here's the thing. Anybody that believes that, and I put this up on Facebook, anybody that believes that coronavirus isn't a big problem. I've had 2 friends die from it already. You're the same people that believe that a 22 caliber gun can't kill you. Feel free to stand in front of the barrel while somebody pulls the trigger and then tell me how great it was.
Yeah.
It can kill you. It will kill some more people. It's not cool to joke about it. It's not something we should take lightly. That doesn't mean we should stop our world, but for a while, you mentioned the Groundhog Day reference. I put this up on Facebook too. If everybody behaved like Bill Murray and Groundhog Day for a little bit, this thing would be over. Start thinking about other people instead of yourself.
Mhm.
Start thinking about, we seem to be the only country on the planet that can't sit still for a month. It's so weird. I don't get it. I hate the panic. I hate that the economy is in the shitter. I hate that all this is happening, but I also hate the fact that 2 of my friends are dead. So it sucks. Put on a mask. Doesn't hurt it. Doesn't hurt anybody. Just do it. Just the faster you do it. It's like being grounded. The more you fight it, the longer it lasts. Just do it.
Yep.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
On
Yes.
that note, rock and roll.
Sorry.
On that note,
Have a great week, everyone.
thank you for being here, John Biel. Well, John Biel, this is your show. You should be thanking me. Thank me for being here.
Thank you, Johnny. Always. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to do this, Johnny. No, absolutely. Thank you, Johnny.
Johnny brings the ball. We can't play the game unless Johnny has the ball.
That's right.
I got 2 of them.
Once that gets shot off the roof, we're done. So.
Oh my gosh.
How many people been watching? What was the peak?
I'm not sure. I get an email once this is done. I get an email that tells me everything. I'll let you know.
How many thumbs up did we get?
I see 55. So that's
I see 55.
55.
nice.
That just happened.
Oh,
I
so
always- Yeah, I always think that at a football game, whoever number 55 is when they make a tackle or something, because it's usually a defender, that should come over the PA.
Yeah,
like
not enough people use that song.
55. All right, that's my own.
How many other number songs are there? Let's go to the 19th Nervous Breakdown. No, we're done. One. There's a couple of ones. Yeah. That's your homework for next week.
Yeah.
5150.
Yes.
Christine 16.
1984. All right. Thank you all.
Your, Gene Simmons version of Christine 16. The quiet part in the middle when he's talking.
Yeah, I love that part. That's my favorite. I don't usually say things like this to girls your age. But when I saw you coming out of school that day I knew. I've got to have you. I've got to have you. And you're like,
I knew I was going to get arrested. Going to get arrested.
You know what's fun is when the first time I saw Sophie Simmons, I knew she was underage, and what I was thinking was wrong.
That's weird.
That's good stuff, man. The world's so different now.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
I mean, now to say that you had
I can't even go outside.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just hang out by a high school and check out the young kids.
No, man, you're not do that.
You know, one of us is going to do it.
Miss the old days.
That's the great thing about these high school girls, man.
Yeah. I get older and they stay the same age. All right.
This is getting creepy.
It's the creepiest show ever.
Johnny's never seen that movie.
Right? The creepiest show ever, and no Mancuda in sight.
Trust me, though, his spidey sense is tingling right now.
Tingling.
Something's tingling.
Oh, gross.
Oh, yeah, that's where we crossed the line.
Thank you, right?
All right. All right, everybody. All right. You can become a channel member. You can become an executive producer of the show. Like Charles Green, Music Therapy Labs, Robbie Johnson, Mike Neese, Michael Smith,
Captain,
and
yeah, whatever happened to him tonight?
he has a headache. And Connor Johnson, 5150 as well. So your name will be on there. And it'll also be on these. Thank you to all channel members, Charles Green, Fruitcake Tony, Charlie S., Mike Neese, Mickey Suttlemeyer, Lenny Lou, Bozique, Robbie Johnston, False Flag, David Ennis, Michael Smith, get well soon, Hal Faced, James Gum, Mr. BHB Jr. Wait, that's a different one, right? Frag, did I just read this one? Wait,
I think that's Bruce.
is this a different one? That is Bruce, Frag 5150, Frank Corcoran, Thomas Santiago, Fender Guru, Music Therapy Labs, Ghost BC, Rich, Hugh Caldwell, Jim Nicholas.
lack of enthusiasm on that read.
Jeez. Jim Nicholas, thank you.
Jim Nicholas, hey now. Hey now.
Producer on this one.
Hey now. And next Friday night. Next Friday night.
Oh,
Look at
Billy
that.
Sheehan.
wow.
Nice.
Big time.
He'll be right here.
Oh, we could
So
answer a bunch of skyscraper questions on.
we were just talking about that.
Let's hear it for Billy the bass player.
he was on there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He didn't play the tour. He did the record, but he didn't do the tour.
There you go.
86, he did both, right?
Bissonette's
Really?
brother did the tour.
Yeah, Billy, was it embarrassing to watch Matt Bissonette butcher your bass lines every night?
Oh my gosh.
I'm not lying.
And the following week,
Yeah, Greg.
Greg Runoff,
Another good one, yeah.
right there, following Friday.
Good gets there, Johnny. Good gets.
Awesome. And if you guys didn't watch last night, make sure to watch last night's show. It was amazing as well.
Yeah, he was awesome.
The stories this guy has are incredible. Incredible. All right.
All right.
We'll see you guys. I'll see you guys maybe Monday. Monday. A friend of mine is starting a new show on his channel, I think, and he wanted me to do something with him. So
Can I get
look
a plug
for
in?
look for something. Yes.
I'll be in with Mancuda on Tuesday, which is always a fun time. But Wednesday, my new friend Jason McNamara, has asked me to sit in on his show Wednesday night. He's going to be talking to Dave Amato and I forget who else from Styx.
Oh, you're taking over for Dave Birch. Good.
I'm just sitting in for the night. Whether or not Dave is going to be there, Jason just reached out and said, "Hey man, do you want to sit in?" Because we got a couple of the guys from REO and Styx hanging out. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. The great thing about Dave was in a Boston band called August. He's from Framingham, Massachusetts. He was in a Boston band called August that my first guitar player, the first guitar player I ever played with, because I didn't own him. That's illegal. A guy named Dave Betcha bought Dave's guitar head, his Marshall guitar head from him. The legend of that guitar head is that this band August got to open for Spinal Tap in 1983 because when Michael McKean and Christopher Guest and Harry Shearer were going around, they tried to find the band with the most equipment in the city that they were playing in. That band got to open for Spinal Tap so that we could use their backline.
Wow.
So that's the story. So we'll ask Dave about that story if in fact that is true on Wednesday night. So I think that's Wednesday night, 5:00 West Coast time. So it'll be 8:00 Eastern.
Oh, you see, Jay got you that gig.
Who? What?
Jay got you that gig with Jason.
Oh, did you? Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that.
That's a great, yeah. That'll be cool.
That's a solid. And there I was thinking you didn't like me.
Oh.
I mean, you probably still hate me, but I can help Jason, I guess, a little bit.
Gosh. All right.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.